move over a little bit. That's not too bad a positioning there. Let's get the light adjusted here. Okay, that looks okay. How's the sound? Presume everyone can hear me. Well, what can I say, David? The problem with flatland is the soil's too thick to get to bedrock. The other problem is when you have too much rain and you have all that Oregon ground fungus everywhere, you know, lots of soil, lots of grass, lots of bushes. Yeah, you just can't see anything. Oh, my goodness, we've already lost 2 people in the last 10 seconds. Hello, internal compass. How's it going?
You lost people already?
Well, it went from 4 to 2. I don't know what that means. That's what it says. Tonight we may have a number of newbies because the Where Does Gold Come From video has been going viral this week. And as a matter of fact, I believe, well, last time I checked, today's views were 15,535. So, for whatever reason, the algorithms have decided to bless me abundantly with views. So I say there's a good chance we're going to have a lot of first timers on tonight. For any first timers, the general format is I will sit there and talk about what I've done this week, what I'm planning on doing next. And we answer questions and just kind of wander off sometimes into various subjects. This is why we encourage questions, because they will tend to take us off for a half an hour or an hour of productive conversation. And we shall, you know, I say we encourage questions here. It's amazing how it spontaneously just gets things going. That may be a part of it, David, but like in the last 2 weeks, it has gone from 700 views a day to, like, let's say today it was 15,000. Yesterday it was, I think it was 11,500, something like that. So I mean, it's still going up like that, and I don't know why that is, but you know, it's fine with me. I've had a couple of good comments this week that I've never seen before, which is rather unique. Lots of comments on the usual thing of gold comes from exploding stars, which, yes, but it's kind of beyond the scope of the video that I was working on. One of my comments to a couple of them were, you know, gold comes from supernova. And I go, A, you know, grade A. Now, question for extra credit, is that from a core collapse supernova or a neutron star merger supernova? But yeah, I've been getting, oh gosh, probably an average of 5 or 6 comments a day.
Well, you had that guy who said gold came from God.
Yeah, God came from God. Gold came from God. And it's like, yeah, if you want to go back far enough. The one that I don't know if I told you this morning, some guy said, gold is made up of hydrogen. And I'm like, not by any theory I've heard of.
You hadn't told me about that one. You did tell me that some guy mistook the name and the title as Where Does God Come From rather than Where Does Gold Come From.
Yeah, that was.
And he was wondering how you were going to prove the theory that it was millions of years ago in Arizona.
Yeah. But anyhow, yeah, that was pretty funny there. I enjoyed that. So anyhow, it's been an interesting week that way. As hey, how's it going, Jason?
Hi, Jason.
From PBR and Beef Sticks,
Hi,
huh?
buddy.
So anyhow,
That would not surprise you.
this week was primarily taken up with uh, going fishing, scouting for my daughters who are going to be here in oh gosh, about 4 or 5 days now. Um, and without the truck, we've been waiting on a few other things too, and so um, it's been pretty much a little bit of twiddling thumbs, which is good. I can use a little break before things get ridiculous. Um, this summer. Once we start moving, it's probably going to be pretty darn busy. Look at my list here. Video views, got that. Truck repairs. The engine shipped on Friday from North Carolina. It's supposed to be here on Thursday, going straight to Lauren's. And Lauren's going to forklift it off the delivery truck and put it in the shop. With any luck, we'll get the last pin for the excavator that's sitting in the shop. Yeah. Jason says, hi, Eva.
Hi, Jason. Hi, everybody.
And anyhow, so we can get that out of there. That would be nice. It shouldn't take but a couple hours to get the last stuff done on that, I don't believe. And that would give us a whole lot more room. Right now, there's a mini excavator in there anyway. And so that's, the priority right now is getting ready for, because I got my son-in-law, my grandson, my two daughters, all showing up either late Friday or early Saturday. Jason says they're doing great. Okay. So anyhow, got to get everything lined up for that. What was it? I need a. Yeah, let me. I had a note here. Okay, I need a exhaust pipe hanger too. Exhaust.
And a speedometer
pipe.
cable.
No, we don't need that.
So I'm not going to get a working speedometer?
Not soon.
Okay.
It's not some. Say that.
I just thought it would be
You
easier
don't
to
use the truck. You don't drive the truck.
I just thought it would be easier to install it while everything else was being
It's
done.
pretty much a non sequitur.
Okay.
The speedometer cable isn't going to be in the way or any easier to get to without it. And I've got a tachometer, so I can drive just fine without a speedometer. I know what the conversion factors are. So got most of the parts there. I got the steering box, the new power steering pump. I was gonna have a radiator shop clean that radiator out because I put so much stop leak in it, but they wanted $425 to clean the radiator. And I'm like, well, let's see, that's just about what I bought it for.
Nowadays,
and that's
cost more than that.
Oh, I'm sure it costs more, but I mean that was a very expensive one. Grounding strapping, not going to need that. I've got the ground wires and stuff I have will be fine. Hey Jeff. So anyhow, talked to Archie Stutenroth last week. He was finishing up the impactors for the mill and going to be shipping them out. I expect them to show up any day. And yeah, I got new engine mounts, Chris. So let's say they should show up any day. Then I'll take them to Lauren's. We'll get them hard faced, and if we've got a free afternoon or whatever, then I'll take them out to the mill, reinstall those. Hey, Rock Butcher, who's this? It's my daughter Heather. Yes, Heather, I'm doing a live stream. What's up? Yes. Yes, I have a timing light. Yes, I do. Uh, Okay, and Chris Georgie says hi, Heather. She says hi, everybody.
Hi, Heather.
Anyhow, okay, folks. So, okay, Heather. Yes, I have a good timing light too. The 3-wire type timing light. Yep. Okay. Bye bye. That's my daughter Heather. It's her husband who has built the engine, and he wanted because he's flying to Texas. My daughter Heather is flying to Las Vegas. My son-in-law is going to meet up with my grandson at his college in Texas, drive to Las Vegas, then they're all going to drive up here to Helena and then install the engine. Because of that, they really can't bring a whole lot of tools and such. So uh, we've they need to find out what we have and like that. So yeah, it's it's an interesting coordinating effort here to go through, three people going over half the country, um, and then coming up another half of the country, and an engine being shipped, and this and that and the other. But it'll be a fun visit, I think. And when it's all over, the minor Bago will have a new engine, a new steering box, a new um, power steering pump, new rear spring shackles, and new rear string bushings, and new rear spring shackle mounts. You know, that's right, Rock. By the way, somebody sent me a message via a um, comment saying that they've got um, a chipmunk crusher in, I believe it's North Dakota, that they want to basically just sell for cheapsies. So if anybody wants a chipmunk crusher in North Dakota, I can go through the hundreds of comments over the last couple of days and find it. But anyhow, so say that's been taking up the majority of my time. I say that when my brother showed up 2 weeks ago, my usual methods of fishing weren't working. The winter was a lot longer this year than last year. So the patterns of the fish biting and stuff were totally different. And so I didn't want my daughters to show up here and not be able to catch any fish. Um, and so that was North Dakota, not North Carolina, Chris, but it's halfway across the country for sure. Anyhow, he might be able, he might, if you pay for the shipping, he might. But anyhow, so I was out fishing this week. I think I've got a lot of options dialed in, and like it matters the particular day, time of day, and everything else when you go fishing as to what actually works. But I think I got enough options that they'll be able to try stuff and make it work. So that's pretty good. Let's see. Um, the gentleman who has the KD3 solution um, is um, he's a little hard to contact because he doesn't answer his phone too much because he gets a whole lot of spam calls. But I got a hold of him again yesterday, and he's sending me 2 bottles of KD3. He's also sending one to Lauren, and Lauren is going to pay him for that one. Is Mr. Jim on vacation? I don't know what Mr. Jim is doing, Jeff. I saw him today. He came by Lauren's, and he says he'll be back with us next week.
He's just been very busy.
I am not my brother's keeper, so to speak. I don't know. He didn't volunteer. I didn't ask. He did say though that 2 of those trout would be nice for smokers. um, Another thing on Saturday, one of the regular viewers, Leto, Idaho, was here. He was returning. He's a long haul trucker and delivers uh, kind of specialized cargo for a manufacturer. So he was deadheading back and came through Helena. And we got together Saturday morning and had breakfast. And then we went, I drove him around Helena, kind of doing the tourist thing while we chatted and this and that and the other. So we had a nice leisurely couple hour visit, and then he had to get on down the road again. So that was fun. Had a good time there. Once the impactors from the Stutenroth are hard faced, the plan is to take them out there, put it back in the mill, put the mill back together, and then start prepping the entire mill for operations. I got to, pump out the pregnant pond into various tanks, run it through resin while I'm doing it, get the resin cartridge thing set up, the whole 9 yards. Generators outside instead of inside, pumps outside instead of inside, hoses laid out, the whole 9 yards. So that'll be like half a day or something just getting stuff ready there. And we do not have enough ore at the mill for a full batch. We probably have about a half a batch of ore there. So we could do that if we want to. I'm going to take a look at the weather. Hopefully we'll have enough sun that I can pull the cover off of the ore and let it start sun drying there. I'm sure it's pretty wet over the winter. So basically get all that stuff set up, get things starting to get lined out for operations. And hopefully we'll be in the field in just a couple of weeks. That's the plan. We've been getting intermittent, really warm temperatures and wind and such. I mean, right now it's 62 degrees, partly sunny, which I think is kind of like partly cloudy. But if you're an optimist instead of a pessimist or something. But anyhow, so hopefully the snow will be melting fairly vigorously up there at the top of the hill prospect. I know the cricks, that is the official Montana pronunciation of the word C-R-E-E-K. Crick, okay? But anyhow, so they're running really good. Stuff's melting pretty fast. So hopefully we'll be able to get up top of the hill claim fairly quickly. The people from the TV show in London have been communicating a little bit. Due to the volume of communication, my assumption is we're not the priority for this season. We may be an incidental thing, which is fine. So I say we're having a good time getting ready, but we shall see what we shall see. Still don't expect to really get much into the mining or milling or anything for at least 2 more weeks. So that's just the way it is. However, I'll say we will be getting the Stutenroth put back together, and we'll have a video on how we hard faced it and such. But there's also a kind of the inlet chute. I used 16 gauge sheet metal or something. The abrasion on that is ridiculous, so I'm going to have to put a heavier steel in there to keep that from messing up. Because what happens is it's like this, and the rocks are hitting it here, so not only does it wear out, but it bends up. Let's see, kind of like this. So it's hard for stuff to slide down in to the Stutenroth, which is undesirable, especially when it's a little bit damp. So that's it. We got a lot of stuff to do, and get ready. But nothing looked extraordinary last time I was out there. Um, we've gotten some rain since then, but I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that we've probably had about as much evaporation as precipitation over the last couple weeks. It's been pretty good. Uh, not sure what else. Anything else? Set up the mill, retail. Yeah. Okay, that seems to be the interesting stuff on the thing. Let's see if we got a latest thing on the uh, Hard Rock U here. Oh, what do we got? Let's see. So much fun when I was younger. Hey, there's one by David Villa. Okay, let me just scroll down a second, get to this, hit that, the video, hit analytics, and let's see. This video got 80,840 views in the last 28 days. It's still going up at a very steady pace. Right now, it's showing 15,586 views today. And let's go to last Sunday. Last Sunday, it was 2,300 views. And the Sunday before that was 765, which is kind of in the ballpark they've done for a long time. So, I say it's been doing pretty good. I don't think the other videos are doing that. Well, let's kind of see what we got here just for jollies. That's in that. Where's my analytics? There's my analytics there. And okay. Today I've got 17,814 total views. So about another 2,000 views. It says I got 30,001 view in the last 48 hours. Let's see what happens if I go to lifetime just for jollies and see what we got. Take care, Rock. Oh, Richard, we're doing just fine. I'm just kind of going through the channel analytics because the algorithm is switched and saying it says I've gained. Okay, total subscribers lifetime 22,000. So it says my current total views is 2,411,123. Lesson 1, where does gold come from? At this rate, we should break 1 million views on that in about a week or less, because it's got 933,582 views for just that one video.
The solar micronova.
What, where?
Apparently, some yo-yo is predicting that our sun is going to do a micronova in 15 to 20 years.
That would be bad.
Just saying.
Anyhow, the second most popular video was how to find lode gold deposits at 237,891. Then hand panning microfine gold at 203,772. Let's see. Then top 10 killers lurking in old mines, taking representative samples, looking for indicator minerals, improved hand panning, action mining crusher review, sample prep and processing, and breaking and moving rock efficiently in desert heat. So that's kind of a synopsis of what's been going on here at the channel. I say the activity is dramatically increased. and that's interesting. So, say that's kind of where we're at right now. But I say, aside from that, it's basically just some routine housekeeping stuff while we're waiting for the family to show up and snow to melt. I mean, right now, if I had a truck running, I'd already be working at the mill and stuff like that. I got a lot of stuff to haul back to the mill from Lauren's place. Lauren's going to get a lot more room in his lab shortly, and some room in his um, shop too. We have a number of boxes of stuff on the floor there that a lot of them come back to the lab. There's probably a half a dozen full size boxes basically of stuff that goes to the lab. So that's where we're at. And
that is just weird.
Does anyone have a particular subject they would like me to talk about today? Because my brain is not doing too well in terms of coming up with fascinating and engaging subjects just off the top of my head. The yeah, I got a lot of stuff I'm thinking about, but nothing is really that new, so it doesn't sound too interesting to me. I'm not sure what would be interesting to you folks. Jeff, I presume you're still planning on being here in August. Be happy to, really looking forward to seeing you and seeing how maybe we could work together to help each other out on some projects somewhere. If you got something, sounds like you probably do. And I'm just itching to get up there at top of the hill and do some work. But we've got to get the RC46 refurbished a little bit too. Not a big deal, but we need to get it working so that we can get that up at the top of the hill also, and use it to crush samples in real time, so we can do real time sampling, and that'll make some good videos. But we've got a huge amount of area to try and go over fairly thoroughly with very little information to start with. This could get interesting. That's kind of about the news. When it comes to the gold situation, I don't know if we can't come up with a good subject. Eva might have to get onto her tinfoil hat report early. Looking at the number of people, it doesn't look like all the extra views are translating into a whole lot of extra viewers, especially tonight. So we shall have to see how it all works out. I got a number of publications. They're small publications. Hey, Lars, how's it going? There was a group years ago from Silver City called the American Society for the Advancement of Technology, run by a guy named Walt Lashley. He used to write articles for the California Mining Journal on a regular basis. And no, we haven't staked any more claims this year. Dave Van took us out to that one spot. Hey, Lito, how's it going? I guess did you make it back safe, or are you twixt here and there? I think you've had time enough to make it back if you had hours enough. That's the problem being a long haul trucker nowadays, is you got Big Brother satellite watching you every second of every day. And first of all, that would drive me crazy. But it means, you can't, you're 30 minutes from home. I've actually heard around here where they wind up with stuff like that, and they'll park the truck, and the wife will just come out and pick them up and take them home, and then take them out there the next day. You're in Iowa, huh? Well, you're not too far from home. You'll get there tomorrow. Glad you had a good time, Lido. And, or actually, should I say John? But anyhow, so yeah, I was afraid of that, John. Oh, so when Dave Van met us out there near the Boulder Basin area and stuff, we put one stake in the ground near some outcroppings that he was fairly confident had gold. Sampled the outcroppings. None of the samples came back good, so we'll go back there and pull that stake sometime soon, hopefully. I mean, the road should be getting passable again here shortly. I think I may very well just walk up that last little bit instead of drive up like we did last time. That was an interesting situation there.
Oh, very bizarre.
What now, little one?
A leftist Bellingcat writer
Uh-huh.
has posted screenshots from the purported obscured Odnoklassniki social media profile,
Ognoklasniki?
OK.ru social media, of the hashtag Allen, Texas mass shooter, Mauricio Garcia.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is, of course, trying to link the shooter to Tim Cast and the lips of TikTok. The account has photos of random Latino people wearing or posing in front of neo-Nazi symbols. Bellingcat is a government-funded site that has sourcing from intelligence agencies and employs radical leftist writers.
Okay. Lido says, sorry he missed you, Eva. She was still sound asleep when I got back, just like I said
Sorry,
she'd be.
I missed you too, Lido.
John.
The goddess considers nothing that happens before 10 a.m. to be civilized.
Well, that's good, John. So, I say that when it comes to staking claims, that was the only basic activity we did this year, besides just taking care of the claims, the overstakes and stuff like that we ran into this year. And that's another thing we'll have to do is go up there and check all the corner markers and make sure everything is up to date and location notices are in place and blah, 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 blah. So I say that's just routine claim maintenance. That's going to take, well, we got near Montana B, and then up at the M&M in that area there. That's the only two places we have. No, we got claims to maintain right over here by town too. So I got to go up there and look at those. That's something I could do right now. Sounds good, John. 6 acres of land. Yeah, there's that gentleman, Chris Wade here. Now you're in North Dakota, right, Wade? And he's looking to sell his chipmunk jaw crusher and such. I know we usually have some people. Let's see, Wade Stanton. Let me write that down here. Because I know we have a couple of gentlemen in the North Dakota area that might be interested in that. I don't recall seeing Mandan, huh? Would that be the same Fort Mandan that the Lewis and Clark expedition wintered over at? Ugh. I'm not really scouting more claims at the current time. Whenever you have a claim, you have to do what they call maintenance work. That would be either you have to pay a holding fee or do assessment work on that particular claim for that part of it. But then you also have to verify that your monuments are in place and that your paperwork is in place. Okay. Once a year, you have to verify all that stuff. So the claim owner I work with currently has 1, 2, 3 claims here. The M&M, other one that I can't mention the name. So that's 5. Then we got 4 by Montana B, and then 1 at the top of the hill. So that's 10 claims where we have to physically inspect the monuments, make sure they're there. Now, in some cases, it's not too bad because we know where they're at, and we can go like, yeah, it's still on the hillside right there, you know, which can save a lot of work. But you actually have to go up to the discovery monuments and verify that the paperwork is still in them, that sort of thing. And so that's, looking at a couple days work for this year just to do that. Say 3 of the claims are literally, I don't know, park 15 minutes from home, 10 minutes, depending on traffic.
Yeah.
Up there at Green Meadow. So that's the thing. And how much do you actually want for that chipmunk, Wade? What's the purchase price? Because I don't think we need it here, but I know a lot of people around here who might be interested in it. If you're going to offer to deliver it at cost, basically. So what's the actual purchase price? We could always chat when you're here and this and that and the other too. I don't know. Lauren, are you still here? Well, are you here? I don't think I've seen Lauren today, and I haven't seen Jim, and I haven't seen what's his name? Dave Van. Yes, Lito. All of these are hard rock claims, correct? So, let's see, are there any? None of them are just, I think, every one of them has at least one old working on it. Some have tunnels, Lito. Most have declines. The rock around here has, been kind of heaved and everything from the, what do you call them? The igneous intrusions. And so you have some tunnels, you have some shafts, and a shaft will be vertical. And then you have a lot of declines, because if the vein is at an angle, the simplest thing is to follow the dip of that vein with a decline. Hey, my adventure, how's it going? So by doing that, you stay in the ore, and you're seeing what's happening as you go. So trying to think if we have any that are actually just straight shafts. That's not. That's not. That's not. Nope, nope, nope. Um, $400 plus delivery. Okay. Oh, thank you, Adam. I'm glad I could help. If you know, we're here to help out. Sometimes we help each other. Um, some guy contacted me about some stuff in Arizona, and I thought Rock was better equipped than I was to deal with that. So I put them in contact, and uh, Rock Butcher said everything worked out well. He was very happy with it, and that's cool. I mean, that's what it is. I'm pretty busy here. Um, he would not want me going to Arizona if possible. We like being together. We can be apart, but we prefer not to be. And so that just worked out good for everybody. And say Rock was substantially more qualified than I was for the particular task at hand. So that was very good. Worked out great. And Eva is planning on being here next Monday. I wouldn't count on it. She has to have some rather significant dental work done that day, and I don't know in what condition she's going to be. So next Monday, we're just going to be playing it by ear and seeing, what happens. But that's, we'll see what happens next week. She's also finding out that when you don't vape, and she's decided to give up vaping, which is good. But she's finding out that's why I get this mouth boredom thing, and I tend to snack.
No, we just have to buy me some gum.
That's what I was supposed to get today, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Was that what you were thinking of?
Chewing gum.
Yeah. Chewing gum. Okay, got to get it tomorrow. Because I presume I'll be heading out to help Lauren in the morning. We got things kind of set up today so that there's a bit of a major assembly thing that needs to be done, and then it's going to be waiting for concrete to set. Then I got to come back and do some stuff here that we do on Tuesdays. So depending on exactly when Lauren doesn't need me anymore, little one, I can stop by the grocery store then or after our usual Tuesday stuff.
Yeah, I would like to go to the grocery store. We didn't get to the coin shop today.
Okay. We can do that. And anyhow, so that's kind of the situation there. So I think she's starting to understand a little bit about my mouth boredom. But yeah. And not planning on staking any claims this year. I mean, it's not scheduled, but I would not be averse to doing so if the situation presented itself. It's not like I'm going to say, no, I'm just not going to stake a good claim.
A nice silver mine.
Yeah, she wants a silver mine. We shall see. Dave Van seemed to have some ideas on that.
Huh.
What?
Apparently, Trump is barred from posting evidence in the hush money case to social media. The first time in history, a U.S. history,
Yeah.
A judge has ruled a Republican candidate for president cannot refute claims leaked by Democrat prosecutors. President Biden is pleading free to make any claim he wishes publicly, and Trump cannot respond.
Well, of course. That makes perfect sense. But life's getting really weird. Price of gold is up. What is it today? Let's see. Price of gold today. Let's see. Well, let's see. Why has it got all that? $2,030.
I was gonna get into that during the tinfoil hat.
Well, I'm just curious. Platinum, palladium, rhodium, vault metals, bicopper. Wow, it doesn't have anything on. That's pretty silly. On silver.
No, Kitco does. It's on my phone.
Yeah. Hey, Tricky, how's it going? Have you ever seen anyone crush their finger in a jaw mill while goofing around? No, Wade, I have not. I would imagine it would be quite effective. I'm sure I have done stuff at times with the jaw crusher on my RC46 that's not approved by the manufacturer. But if the jaw is working this way and you grab the rock this way, it's not likely to cause a problem. It's in North Dakota, Lars. Long trip for you.
But he could come visit us on the way.
Yeah, he could come visit us on the way.
We're like right next door to North Dakota.
Yes, we are next door.
Kind of, sort of.
Next door being 500 miles from North Dakota here.
Yeah, it's right next door.
It's a real state, a manly state.
We share a border with them.
Yes, we do.
We're neighbors. You're totally missing the point.
It's on the Missouri River. We're on the Missouri River.
Yeah.
It's got to be close, right?
Well, yeah, totally.
Wonder where Mandan is. Let's see.
Great. How do you not know this stuff, dude? They're absolutely.
Mandan, North Dakota. Where's the mappy thingy? There it is. Close that. That's right there by Bismarck. It's pretty close to the center of the state. I mean, not exactly, but fairly central. Yeah, that would be like a 12-hour drive from here.
Sounds like a perfectly good drive.
Yeah. How are things going, Tricky? Rain has stopped play just now. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be annoyingly common, Tricky. It's been kind of raining on and off a little bit here the last week, but it hadn't been too bad. And the weather's pleasant here. I mean, right now it's 62 Fahrenheit. So for you, it'd be a nice brisk day. And we're basically just dealing with odds and ends and this and that and the others until we can get the season started. Got a lot of stuff kind of working, but not much happening at the moment. And my family will be here Friday or Saturday morning. Yeah, Lars, how well did that work out for you, too? But I said they'll be here Friday or Saturday, so we'll be spending time fixing the truck. My daughter says that they're hoping to have the engine changed in one day, which I've actually seen that happen. So not I think it's perfectly doable. I suspect more of 2 days, but we've also got some other stuff to do. So we shall see. I'll need to get that truck over there this week and get it pressure washed. Hmm, maybe Thursday would be a good day. Yeah, that road got thoroughly beat up. That's for sure. Oh goodness! Oh, I know I got some somewhere. Caffeine. I have caffeine.
Actually, you have super huge
Oh, really?
overdoses of B complex vitamins there. I was just going
Sounds
on
like I got caffeine, I'm sure.
Nah,
Let me see.
probably not as much as it has B vitamins.
It has a proprietary energy blend of taurine, caffeine, L-phenylalanine, and acetyl L-tyrosine, and glycurolactone, glycuronolactone, 2.125 grams, which tells you absolutely nothing about how much of each one, I think. Oh my goodness. Whatever. It says, did it say 0 calories? I thought I saw 0 calories there someplace. Yes, 0 calories, zero sugar. Uh, Tricky says rain plus mud plus rocks plus 40-degree incline equals possible hospital time or worse.
Ricky, you got to be careful.
He is. They're starting a new decline because things were looking kind of sketchy. So far, he's still got his oxygen addiction, so that's a good thing. Anyhow, yeah, I've got much better ground conditions over here. Tricky. I mean, some places where they were tunneling in the placer benches might have gotten pretty sketchy, but I'm not dealing with anything like that at the moment. We may come up on something sometime. Who was it? Was that I think it was Jason from Mount Baker Mining, where they were in a tunnel where they were having this slough coming down. Yeah, I've had to deal with stuff like that before. One time I was with a bunch of guys dealing with something like that, but there was a guy stuck in the muck. So it was not an annoying situation. It was a very serious situation. Luckily, we recovered him with no serious injuries to anybody. But that was, pretty intense. But it was also very inspiring because we had, like 5 guys working the situation and just a line of people ready to dive in if anyone got tired or hurt. There was no shortage of volunteers to just dive right in there and you know get her done. So that was, it made you proud to be a part of a group like that. But anyhow, so yeah, that situation that Jason and company had over there didn't look like much fun, especially as it didn't look like they were close to the outside where they could haul that material and dump it. So that it would have created a lot of problems. Where do you take it to? Um, that'd be a good spot to do some spiling or something. Drive some boards in to hold things back before you start trying to move anything out. But I'm getting antsy. I haven't been running my demo hammer. I haven't been underground. I haven't been breaking rock. So annoying. So annoying. I've been able to help Lauren on a few things, but with the lab, basically all tasks completed. Not much to do. Eva will probably be doing some rock assaying while we're working on the truck. That would be my guess. And we shall see. My girls can be fishing the whole time because we'll have at least 3 people to turn wrenches. So there's no reason to need any more. And so Eva can be working on that. I suspect since my grandson has been working with my son-in-law all his life, I imagine those two are going to be doing the wrenching, and I'm going to be doing things like parts cleaning and handing wrenches and running any little oddball miscellaneous parts, nuts and bolts or whatever that, we come up short. Go to town and pick up parts like that. I presume that's kind of be my part of the whole thing. Yeah, exactly, Chris, the gopher. And sometimes that's really important to keep things moving, but in no way is it it's not very glorious. It doesn't require much skill. So that would work out fine for me in this circumstance. But I'm really looking forward to seeing them again and everything. And I think Heather was saying they're planning on being here for like 5 days, something like that. So we'll have plenty of time for visiting and stuff.
There's not much time if they're going to Yellowstone.
That sounds like a good plan, Tricky. He says a recent landslide has exposed a horizontal tunnel about 3 feet in diameter along the river edge. At least 40 feet long. We will send a drone down there to see where it goes. That sounds like a good preliminary plan, Tricky. I wonder if the stuff you're working, whether or not a tracked drone, so to speak, a remote controlled tracked vehicle with a camera on it might also be a good idea at times. Sending a flying drone down a tunnel that narrow would be pretty tricky. I'm not sure how that would work, but certainly you could have a tractor wheeled vehicle that could do that. And anyhow, so that's kind of where my mind's been. I haven't been thinking too much of mining. Oh, back to the thing where I got distracted. The American Society for Advancement of Technology, they had a number of publications, and this was years ago, be in the 80s, I guess, or maybe earlier. I think it was in the 80s. Things like refining gold with dibutyl carbitol and, stuff like this. But there's a lot of interesting information and in many cases some chemistry that may come in useful. For example, I'm guessing, I don't know, dibutyl carbitol is not methyl isobutyl ketone. Okay. However, I kind of suspect, because it's also an organic solvent, that anything that will precipitate gold out of dibutyl carbitol will also precipitate gold out of methyl isobutyl ketone, which, again, could give us a good wet chemical assay for gold. And then we'd have hand panning in the field for speed. We'd have the fire assay and a wet chemical assay that we can apply to, and they're all going to be relatively inexpensive. So I've got lots of stuff to play with, but that will probably wait until we're actually processing ore, because when we're agitating a tank full of ore or something like that, there you go, Tricky. Yeah, that's a wheeled autonomous, not autonomous, remotely controlled vehicle. Yep.
RV car?
Huh?
Does he have an RC car?
Something like that. It says a wheeled drone like a small truck. Yeah. But anyhow, so I'll be doing those experiments or having Eva do those experiments for me while we're out at the mill would be the plan. I mean, she may be doing experiments while I'm crushing rock and doing big muscle stuff while she's doing brain stuff. To each who's most qualified. But that information may come in quite handy. We will see how useful it is. Although one thing that was there is refining silver by the chloride conversion method, which may have a good flux and smelt recipe for the silver chloride. If that can be done with minimal losses, that's another way of doing it, which works fine if what you're doing is trying to refine the silver. In our case, we're trying to reuse the silver from inquartation and assaying, and the method we have for that seems to work very well with just the neutralization of the nitric acid, what little's left, and then cementing with silver.
There's some sort of calorimetric field test in there for silver, so that when we do find me my silver mine.
I think you can probably go with a chloride precipitation on silver in general, and that would be quasi. All right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Chris. Is you just digest it in the appropriate solvent, like nitric acid, and then add some chloride to it. If all you had was silver, you could even titrate it. Take care, Tricky. And Chris says you can use the rhodamine B for enhanced titration. Yeah. Anyhow, I say it should be fairly simple. Our standard titration solution is the silver nitrate. But I say it should be fairly easy to come up with something that will work as a wet chemical assay for silver. The other thing is just the fire assay itself will tend to be a lot easier for silver than for gold, unless you have a volatile form of silver, because you're going to be dealing with much higher concentrations. Yeah, I understand, Chris. Yeah, we'll check it out when we have the need for it. Oh, the assay. I got to get back. Everything running again. That's gosh, that's probably going to be a day or two, just hauling everything over, setting it up, and this and that and the other. Gonna wait till I get the truck. Hauling all that stuff in the van is not going to be as efficient. But overall, we should be up and running here pretty quickly.
The van would probably work perfectly well.
Probably, I need to look at the owner's manual and figure out how to remove the seats. But then, see, right now we'd have no place to put the seats.
Yeah.
I could probably kind of rearrange the beluga, but yeah, we got to deal with that. We had a barrel of gasoline in there that started leaking on the bottom for some bizarre reason. Luckily, the bungs are tight, so I was able to just flip it over. But I need to get that dealt with too. Yeah, I can get a barrel from Lauren, or I can just start using. I should probably just use the gas out of that barrel.
Yeah.
put it in a 5-gallon bucket, and and then you can see how dirty it is and this and that. And yeah, Chris, yeah, I've had that happen before where you put it in a 5-gallon bucket. Most of the sediment is usually like iron oxide, which is wetted by the water, and so it stays in the water, and you can pour off the gasoline. And so by dumping it into 5-gallon buckets first and making sure it's clean before putting it in the truck, I could start basically fueling the truck from that for a while. And once that barrel's empty, just throw it away or mark it and retain it. Let it dry out real well. Then we cut the bottom off of it and use it as a just a barrel like for my trip concentrator. Well, I'll check things out with Will before I do anything. What is ISO heat? Is that like one of these fuel conditioners, fuel, like Stay-Bill or something like that? Methanol, huh? You could use denatured. Could you use denatured methanol from the hardware store? Let's see. You wouldn't even need denatured methanol. You have to go with denatured alcohol or isopropanol. I don't know. So I'll talk to Will about it too. The big advantage of the truck is that the passages in the carburetor are much larger than the passages in the carburetor of a little 5 horsepower engine. So I'll see what he says, because let's say we'd be filtering it, and everything first. I have done that before. And, where I had some seriously contaminated gasoline, and I ran it through the truck after separation, and it worked fine. But I'll check with Will. Say with all the fuel filters and everything else, I think it can be done safely.
Well, we actually do need to replace that barrel anyway, and we need to cycle out the other barrel so we have fresher gas when Armageddon happens.
Absolutely. I agree. But I found that if you put it in a clean 5-gallon bucket first, if there's any contamination, you'll see it real easily. And then, let's say you can basically decant most of the gasoline fine, and then, the rest of it, when in doubt, let it vaporize. I don't worry about it. If I get 4.75 gallons out of 5, nice and clean, that's fine. So we shall see. Well, Chris, if you got an absolutely sealed 55-gallon drum, it shouldn't be too bad. The problem, I say, it rusted through on the bottom, so I presume there was some moisture in this one, or it was just the alcohol. I don't know. I know that Lauren has extra fuel drums over at his, extra oil drums. So, that's why I didn't open it until that. But, my thought is we can put it on a flatbed, take it over to Lauren's house, and then deal with it, there until it's empty, and then just open it, let it vaporize and clean out, and then either dispose of it or use it for like a burn barrel or something like that. You know, once you got it thoroughly empty and cleaned of vapors, then you can do one of two things. You can fill it with gasoline. I'm not gasoline. Fill it with water, and then cut it because you have very little uh, air. And yeah, that's not a bad idea, Chris. Or the other thing you can do is you can run exhaust into it. You know, just run exhaust and fill it up with exhaust fumes. And again, it's a non-combustible atmosphere. But I say we shall see.
Wouldn't we technically like turn this barrel into a furnace?
No, it's too big for a furnace.
Or
It could certainly work as a furnace, but you need crucible like this sort of thing. You know, it's not a hand-sized furnace.
well,
Okay.
I was thinking we turn it on its side like a smoker grill and built a horizontal furnace with some of those gas jets that
I say you can't. It's much bigger than you need unless you were going. If you're building a full assay furnace, you could use it as the form for like the outer thing, and then
Could
put
we turn
the
it
put the
into a
muffle
roasting
inside
thing?
it. What?
Could we turn it into a roasting chamber?
You might could turn it into a roasting kiln, but yeah. Hey John, how's it going? You know,
Just asking.
I say, I'm not sure what's the best thing to do, but say we could either take it out to the ranch or to Lauren's and use the gas out of it from there, and then dispose of it effectively once that's been taken care of. Yeah, it's not a big technical problem, and yeah, I don't intend on using any gasoline that's not good. You know, it's easy to separate water and the particulates that are in the water, and if there's particulates in the gasoline, you can run that through a particulate filter also. So I say it shouldn't be a problem. And then I say if you put it in a truck, well, I don't know about your truck, but mine has two cartridge fuel filters too.
I'm sure it's perfectly safe to use for gas.
Talk to the detector store guy. He does not think he could sell a 5,000. Okay, thank you, John. Yeah, that's my thought too. Is it's such a specialized machine, and they're so expensive that the average person doesn't. It's kind of like if you had like this really fancy sniper rifle with the fancy stock and everything's adjustable and this and that and the other, the average hunter wouldn't want it. I mean, it's really, really good at hitting something a really, really long way away, but a hunter wants something he can put on his back and carry, and it works in a lot of different situations and like that. Ease of use is more important than absolute precision. In this case, it's ease of use versus absolute sensitivity if you know how to use the machine precisely, you know, and that's undesirable. So that's why I say I'd like to go to something smaller, like a gold monster or a gold bug 2 or something like that, you know, because it's a lot easier. And for a novice like myself who only uses it part time, you know, uh, I also want to get another a UV light too this season. That would be nice. We shall see how the money situation is, because of course the overall situation is highly variable. We don't know what's going to happen, so it's kind of hard to predict. But anyhow, hey John, if you're anywhere near central North Dakota, there's a guy selling a chipmunk crusher for $400. Gold Monster and Equinox 800, entirely possible. I say, I'm not sure what the ideal thing is. I'm on a kind of a first name basis with Chris Ralph and the guys at I Break for Bedrock. So I'll check with those two and get their feedback on that. Um, I say, and kind of go from there. I also suspect that I know someone around town that's got one I can borrow for the few days that I will probably need it. And that would probably be a good interim option. Um, if say we're out there looking at the top of the hill prospect and we're picking stuff up, then I'll probably wind up uh, teaching Eva how to use it or having her learn how to use it herself. She'll probably do good.
I'm perfectly capable of learning how to use a metal detector, dude. I
But
am not blonde.
a chipmunk is a jaw crusher. It's a laboratory sized jaw crusher. It's about a 3x3, I think. But anyhow, it's a chipmunk crusher. If you're looking for I don't know, Chris, what would you think about 100 pound an hour jaw crusher? Something like that. It'd be a good deal, you know. But that's what a chipmunk is. It's a small crusher, like jaws are about that wide. But it's great for a I don't know. I don't know if she has the back for it. She's going to have to, you know, again, that backpack is one thing. Plus, it'll be a lot of digging. Yeah, exactly. It's not a big crusher, but it's designed for laboratory use, and it works fine for that. So if somebody's looking for a lab scale crusher, jaw crusher, it's a good option. Of course, I'm not looking for a lab scale crusher myself. Um,
Well,
North
his
Dakota,
pulverizer.
Mandan, North Dakota, John, which is kind of like in the middle of the state. Yeah, it would be farther. The other thing is, these guys that get on here that are truck drivers, it might be something that could be relatively rich. Yeah, John, he said that he would deliver it if you paid for the gas money or something, but I don't think he's talking 3 states away. But yeah, I say if we're constantly getting useful information or nuggets or something like that, I'm sure Eva would be happy to do that while I was doing more substantial things up atop of the hill, you know, like digging trenches or whatever.
Anyway.
What?
I want to do it anyway.
That's fine. John says, I'll drive across country at the top of a hat. I hate driving across town, though. Well, it's a little more interesting when you're going cross country. But anyhow, so I thought I'd mention that to everybody because if it's convenient for some, that's a good price for a chipmunk, and it's good for the particular application it's designed for. It's kind of like a mini pickup truck. If you need a mini pickup truck, it works fine. If you need a full size pickup truck, ain't gonna do a damn, you know. But and I say that's kind of where we're at on that. I say I also like to get a good UV light with multi bands and check out, see what we can ascertain with that. A VW diesel wagon that probably gets pretty good mileage. Is that one of the older VW diesels or one of the newer ones? If it was newer, it'd probably get an awesome mileage. If it was older, it would get decent mileage. 2003. It's got chips in it, man. Come the nuclear apocalypse, it's going to be a paperweight. Oh,
Never own anything you can't wrench on anyway.
yeah. Well, the only thing electronic on Bugs is the ignition module, and we have a spare one sitting. Wade says hey, John, says he'll deliver as far as Spokane or Pueblo or Buena Vista or Silverthorne. John,
Y'all can meet up in Helena.
Yeah, if you go to Spokane, make sure you swing by Helena, Wade. But I say I've used chipmunks before, and they do just fine. I say they just don't have high capacity, but they're great for laboratory scale stuff. Yeah. And when I'm out in the field, the RC46 is a pain to bring along, but boy, it certainly it swallows up a half a bucket or a bucket of rock real quick, and grinds it down fine enough I can get some results with a pan real fast and go from there. I'm not looking for low grade stuff.
Oh, that looks familiar.
Well, Kodak, that's even closer. So Wade, how about St. Paul, Minnesota? I'm not sure where Buena Vista. I know one in California. I don't know about Silver. I wonder if he means Silverton, Colorado. St. Paul, Minnesota. How does that sound, Wade? Is that within the range? And if so, how much would that cost for the delivery? Of course, it can always be shipped, standard something or other somewhere. Do they still have that? Was it U-Ship or something like that? Where it was it's kind of like Uber, but for shipping stuff. He's selling a chipmunk jaw crusher, Patrick. Yeah, Jim. Wade is selling a chipmunk jaw crusher. If you know anyone that needs one, $400, $400, Patrick, if you pick it up, or he'll basically deliver it within reason for cost. So, if you're in the North Dakota area, that might be a pretty good deal. If you need a laboratory scale jaw crusher, 50 to 100 pounds an hour, somewhere like that. By the way, Wade, is this the hand crank version or a motor drive or both? Yeah, Wade, what is the exact size of the opening? And is it motor driven or hand cranked, or does it have both? I'd trade for a good kayak if he delivered to St. Paul. Okay. There you go. What's your opening size on that jaw, Wade? And again, is that a hand crank or a motor drive or both? I think it has that option where you can take the handle off, and the actual circle of the hand crank thing is actually a pulley, but I'm not sure. I forget. He's in North Dakota, Patrick. Mandan, North Dakota. I think it's something like that too. Let me see if I can get it. Chipmunk jaw crusher. Huh. Beco jaw crushers are available in standard chipmunk, heavy duty chipmunk. Boy, they got some fancy ones now. Yeah, they got some the newer model ones. Say it's a well built one. The newer ones look pretty fancy. Badger has a 5x7. Chipmunk. Well, parts are easily accessible. Doesn't say what. Let's see. Chipmunk. VD or WD 2 3/8 by 3. Yeah, I'm sure he's talking more like the 2 1/4 by 3 inch, somewhere around there. Yeah, same here, John. Okay. Ooh, got some interest going, Wade. Oh. 3x3 jaw opening. Okay, and what's the is it a Beco Braun brand name? We got some people who are interested. I told you, Wade. We got serious people here. They're not just talkers, they're doers. So I think Jim said it was 6.5 hours, John. That's correct, Patrick. No motor. From the sounds of things, it's got a flywheel, but not the V pulley. On the other hand, Wade, is it got just one flywheel with a flat surface on it and no pulley on the other side at all, or does it have two flywheels, both of them flat? It would just make a difference as to how easy it would be to motorize it. Because if it's got one flywheel and the other side of the shaft is empty, then you could probably just buy the proper pulley to go on that for a motor, and that would make it pretty simple. Wade said it has a big pulley wheel for a flat belt right now, no motor. I'll go out and measure. Then he came back and said it had a 3x3 jaw opening. I'm sure it can be motorized, but depending upon what it's got, it may be a little simpler than others. Also, if you're missing one of the if it's got if it doesn't have the proper flywheels on it, then you may have to get a flywheel with a V pulley in it, or double V pulley probably. Actually, you could probably drive it with a tire too on the pulley. You know. Wade, if you're still here, does it have two pulleys on it? Two. Start VD6. Okay. Eco, Braun, Chipmunk. Jaw. VD6. Let's see what we got. VD Chipmunk, V-belt design. Two and a quarter by 3, V-belt driven, 400 RPM, 400 pounds per hour. Yeah. Says it's rated at 400 pounds per hour. I think that's a little optimistic. It says 2 to 3 horsepower. You know. So yeah, I mean it's a good jaw crusher. I'm assuming all the parts are okay. One flat pulley on one side and a flywheel on the other. If you knew a good machinist, you could machine a groove in it too. Yeah, I'm sure it's running something pretty soft, Jim. Just hard enough so it doesn't squish and plug. Okay, everybody. We have a situation here. We got Wade with his thing. We got a bunch of people who are potentially interested in it. Wade, could you go ahead and put your email address on there again? I saw it earlier one time. And everybody get ready to write down his email address if you want to talk to him about it. Eva would like to have horses, John. Okay, Wade, why don't you
silver mine?
Why don't you go ahead and put your email on there now? We've already got about 3 people who are potentially interested in it, and that way they can all communicate with you. This is weird, Wade, because it's one of those deals where, hey, Blind Sight, when I say something, it takes like a minute or more to get a response back. There's got to be some delay in there somehow, because I know it doesn't take that to do that. Hey, Blind Sight. We got a guy here, Wade Stanton, there just above you that he's got a Vico Braun Chipmunk crusher for sale. So we're trying to negotiate these things here. No, I'm trying to get you guys to deal with him yourselves. You guys, he can handle the wrestling match.
Yeah, all y'all can fight over it via the email.
I'm trying to 3x3 jaw opening. Wade Stanton at Gmail. So Here, I'll copy that. Control C. Okay. So, Wade, I'm planning on posting your Gmail address again here. Control V. Hey, everybody. There is his Gmail address. There is a 59 in the Gmail address. So it's Wade Stanton 59. Let's try this. Control V. Wade Stanton 59 at .com. Is that the one, Wade?
Well,
Verifying email address. We're at 1 hour and 30 minutes. Okay. Anybody who's interested in that crusher can what are you doing there? Come on, computer. I'm just going to check something here. Control V. Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure I put it in my computer, Wade. And so I'll try and put it at the end of tonight if I remember, so that anyone that didn't get it it'll be easy for them to find. Okay. Try something here too. Let's see. Pin message. Now, if I pin this, will it pin it to the top? Is that what it says, my pin message?
I believe that pins it somewhere, dude.
Yeah, I think it would pin it to the top. Let me try this just for jollies. Pin message. There you go. Okay, now you're now at the top there, so anyone can find it real easy. What, John? What? I need to push keys. Okay. Does that work for you, Wade? And if you want me to remove that, either tonight or later on, once you've got stuff done, just go ahead and let me know, and I can log back in, and I think I'll be able to remove it. I know I could remove it right now. As you can see, there's not usually a lot of people watching at any one time, Wade. But I say, these people are serious about mining. So that's why I thought it would be a good idea to, given, as you know, there's like 3 or 4 people here who are serious about it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow, so it looks like Jim is going to be doing something with the sluice boxes, would be my guess. Oh, and tomorrow's Tuesday. Oh, geez, I got a couple of doctor's appointments tomorrow, I think. Yeah, one at 8:20, one at 10:45. Yep. So, see, I need to.
A new part of the narrative has emerged.
Set my alarm.
And Tucker Carlson apparently is planning a podcast.
Okay. So, so anyhow, you're going. Yeah, I'm hoping we can get that excavator out of that shop too. Hey Jim, did you get your quad fixed? You want me to leave it up there for tonight now, Wade, or do you want me to delete it right now? Or I mean, at the end of the show or whatever. Blindside, it's hard rock u. That's the letter U at outlook.com. Okay. And I say, Wade, you want me to do it tonight or like in a couple of days, or how do you want me to do that? Okay, so you want me to delete it now? People have had plenty of time to check it out. John, that is not my choice. Jim has decided, for whatever reasons that he might have, to. Okay, message retracted. Okay, it's apparently still there, but not visible now. How weird. And unpin message. Let's see. This should be remove. Okay, what's with this? Oh my goodness. Okay, I took it off of there. As far as I can tell, it's no longer visible to anybody. And that should take care of it.
Well, he should already have plenty of.
Yep.
He should already have emails from the people who were interested.
Yep. You're welcome, Wade. So if you ever any questions or whatever, this is a good place to ask them. We have several people. Miner Jim that you see there is a professional placer miner, been doing it about 10 years. Chris Georgie is a pretty smart character. I say we have a number of people here who have a lot of experience in a lot of applicable fields. Earlier, the guy you saw, Rock Butcher, he's a professional exploration geologist. You know, so again, we have a lot of expertise available here from time to time. I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. WadeStanton at gmail.com says go to channel is all I see there. Remove. Message retracted. Message deleted. No, that's not what I want there.
No idea.
Does anyone see a message from Wade that shows Wade's email at 7:39 p.m. timestamp? Okay. So somehow it is no. Okay, Chris. I can see it, but when I hit the three dots, all it gives me is go to channel. It doesn't give me any other options. And when I hit the go to channel, it literally opens up another tab with my channel on it. It doesn't allow me to edit it. It was pinned, and then I unpinned. When it was pinned, it said, huh, that one at 7:39 is not allowing me to do anything to it. How odd. I can't edit it. I can't delete it. All it says is go to channel. How weird.
Well,
I don't see any way to do anything there. How odd. Anyone got any ideas? Yeah, I know, Chris. You're a sysop, so to speak. You're a moderator. Can you delete it? Hey, Chris, I'm seeing it at 7:37. If you're seeing it, can you try and delete it and see what happens? Because since you're a moderator, we're just trying to figure out how to remove something now. Rock. Kodak, you deleted it. Okay. So it's disappeared from your screen. Is that correct, Kodak? Okay, so it's missing from yours. Can anyone else see it at 7:37 timestamp? It says wadestanton59@gmail.com. Can anyone else see that at this point? Okay, so Blindside says he can see it. Okay, Rock Butcher, if you could go, are you seeing timestamps? It's at 7:37 timestamp by me, and it says Wade Stanton at Gmail, 59 to Stanton. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you're going to have to enable that. I think you go to the little three dots, Rock, and something about that. Yeah, it's still there, huh? David says not being read here. So weird. I don't know why it's so complicated. All it says is go to channel. Oh,
Oh my God,
So
that
weird.
is so funny. I cannot sing it out loud, but that is just so funny.
Huh. Well, I don't know what to say, Wade. I can't seem to delete that one at the 7:37 timestamp now. It's not at the top. Problem with it could easily be. Oh. Let's see, mine's saying 7:52 p.m. That's giving me local time on my timestamps.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me write it down here. And maybe when we're done with the live stream, I can try deleting it and see what happens then. Very, very confusing. I don't know. Oh. Really, Rock? Interesting. Anyhow, so how was your trip to Arizona? You have a good time there? Seems like you did. Excuse me. Glad I could help out on that, Rock. I couldn't really do anything with it myself anyhow. Had plenty to do at the time. Actually, you know, cool, Rock. You got enough samples and stuff to get the guys to the next stage of their uh, circumstances.
Wow.
Okay, Rock. Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard.
Britain's oldest door dates from the 1060s.
Britain's oldest door is from 1060s, huh? Wow.
Yeah. It's in Westminster Abbey. It's made from wood from the time of Edward the Confessor's original abbey from the 1060s.
Now that's a meme that somebody could do. They're dying on a in the hospital or whatever, and they see the Bud Light.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Oh, that's been kind of funny. Yep. I got another guy down in that area there that contacted me this week. He's he's interested in some. I think he's more in the communition field. He's interested in doing some experimenting on some stuff. So that's
Isn't it comminution?
yeah, it's comminution. Yeah, and it's not arsenopyrite either. It's arsenopyrite. It takes forever to change a pronunciation that you've been using for years.
I was just saying.
Yeah, I saw those shorts. Oh, but I was glad to help on that one because help both of you out. I couldn't do anything anyway, but it was definitely more in your field of expertise than mine. I am not a geologist. Yeah, I know, me too, Rock. But then I found out it's actually arsenopyrite. You know, I think you got to go up. Let's see, what's the three dots at the top? Yeah, you got to go to the three dots at the very top where it says live chat, and there's a toggle timestamps thing on mine. So go to live chat, Jim, and there's three dots next to the live chat caption on the right side. Try and click that and see if you got timestamps. Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, Jeff, it's you that. Yeah, go up to live chat and click that. And again, if you're not on live chat, click top chat to live set. I don't think so, Chris. Okay, Wade. Yeah, because with mine, yeah, of course, since it's my channel, it may give me options, but say if you go to live chat and then go to the right hand side, there should be three dots. Oh, he was getting annoyed with some of my terrible puns lately. I forgot what the last one was, but I thought it was a pretty good pun. Okay, so John says live did give him the time option. And trauma from the 80s. Was that like drug induced neuronal injuries, maybe? I don't know, man. Eva, internet acquaintance with somebody who's out touring and with a band, and they're basically a recovering alcoholic. It's been very difficult on them. And I can understand that. That's got to be a pretty intense thing. There you go, Rock. Oh, ouch. Oh, dearie. Boy, I really need to get back out in the field and do some stuff. This is just very boring and annoying for me. Got things to do, but I've got to focus on this week, getting that truck done and everything. Plus, Lauren's in the middle of a project there that some of the specialty stuff is something that I can do without supervision, and it saves him a lot of time. It's basically some custom carving of stuff. I just have three horizontal line like a sideways T. Interesting. Let's see if I toggle. Top chat. No. All messages are. Huh. Welcome to live chat says. But yeah, that's Lauren was out of town for a couple of days on some family business and such, and so I was able to go fishing. Aside from that, I try to help him out, and then when I need help, he helps me out. Works out well. Yeah, there you go, Rock. That's what I see when I do that. We have a conundrum. Well, what's new? Life is complicated. I get so tired of that. No, no, it's just some people can see stuff that other people can't. I don't know why.
That's entirely your fault.
Now that's an interesting question too. I'm just going to toggle to top chat for a minute. Let me go back to that same 737. I'm still seeing the. Oh, interesting. It won't take me past 7:45. Huh. Go to live chat. Right now, I cannot scroll back before 7:45. How bizarre. Well, get your butt over here and I can, Rock. Eva only likes the small ones to eat. I'm not a big trout fisherman myself. Today, I saw Jim and he said, yeah, he can use a couple of those for smoking. Jim will tell you around here, those trout are considered to be kind of low quality fish. And from what I found out now, though, that sucker was also a good fish for smoking. It's tasty. It's not like the carp that it looks like. Yeah. Yeah, that's what Jim says too. I don't have a smoker, so I don't know. I like walleye. Perch are good too, but they're a little bit bony and they're kind of small. According to Lauren Rock, the suckers are really good for strip bait, for walleye, and for let's see, what was it? Oh, ling, yeah, burbot. Smaller live chat. Huh. Weird, Jeff. I hate YouTube. Yeah, I'd say I like walleye, but they're not the easiest thing to catch. In Ontario, sucker is considered a sport fish, huh? Wow. Yeah, that would be good. Blind sight. Pretty much, David. I say I had no idea, and I was out of cell phone reception. But now I know if I hook another one to save it, and I'll see about getting Jim a couple of rainbows for smoking. And I hear the walleye are biting good at Lake Helena right now, so I'll see what we can do to test that out. Again, the girls are going to be here, so they can be doing all that kind of stuff pretty easily. And if they can quickly dial in something that'll work, that would be great. Yeah, I know about whitefish. They look somewhat similar to that. Kokanee coho crosses, huh? I've heard of those. Now, according to the sign up at the dam, the same spawning beds that the rainbow use in the spring, apparently the kokanee use in the fall. That's correct, Chris. And I heard also that the brown trout spawn in the fall. Yeah. Sweet, Rock. Anyhow, I'm learning more and more about fishing around here. I thought I had some fairly good techniques dialed in, but they weren't working this, a couple weeks ago with Randy. Well, Cutthroat, they make darn good flathead bait, I'll tell you. Tick season. We never even run into a tick up here, have we, little one?
No.
Hey, Jim, we got ticks up here? I haven't seen one yet. But then up till last summer, we hadn't seen any mosquitoes, and then for like 1 or 2 weeks, there was mosquitoes. Okay, Jim says yes, we do have ticks up here.
I haven't seen any yet, so.
Oh, okay, Cutthroat. Now, those are some pretty good nuggets. 5.6 grams and 4.8 grams.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty dang good.
Yeah, those are good. I'm wondering. Let's see. I don't think this will work. But let's see if I find a picture and just something simple. Yeah, I don't know how I would get that in the thing there. I'm trying to think if there was any way I could link it and put a picture in the thing. Singular, Rock. Singular. Mainly just early in the spring. Would that be considered now, Jim? Yeah, at that rate, you were doing pretty good, John. 2 ounces per hour is that would be basically melt value. Eva, we were over in Missoula for a doctor's appointment for Eva. We went to the local coin shop, and they were selling 40% silver Kennedy half dollars for just barely under melt value.
7 times face.
Yeah, they were doing 7 times face, and we figured that was $3.50 per coin, and we figured that melt value at that time was $3.75 per coin. So yeah. Well, in my case, it would be rock, although it'd be more fun for my hiking partner to check me for ticks. What's with all the sirens today? I looked out. I didn't see any smoke anywhere. But usually we don't have much in the way of sirens around here. When we went out to Beaver Creek, they were doing a controlled burn out there. Oh, that was pretty. I forgot to get pictures of the Missouri River at Beaver Creek for the video. I apologize because it was kind of pretty. And I don't know. I've been having fun this week, but that's right, sexist. The ticks are attacking. Get out the 12 gauge. Break out the extra ammo, huh? Yes, it's lingcod, and it's a freshwater outlier. And yes, we do. I think they're called burbot. Also, haven't caught any yet, but that sucker meat is supposed to work really good for them too. You're not the first man to say that, John. And yeah, I got to try and catch some of those too. That's what they say, Rock. I haven't caught one yet. But then I think they mainly bite at night. And I haven't actually been out fishing at night yet. They look pretty wicked. In salt water in San Diego, they call them lingosaurs. You know? But yeah, they're kind of now, are the freshwater ling, do they have kind of a greenish flesh also when it's raw? Jim and Rock? Since I haven't caught one or some here.
Yeah, it does not make much sense at all.
Freshwater ling, the flesh is white before cooking. Okay. Well, as soon as Eva takes over, I'll get me something to snack on too here.
Oh. You actually expect me to do something?
Yes, I expect you to do something. Yeah.
Yeah, there goes an ambulance headed out.
Ambulance?
Yep.
Ambulance headed towards your place, Jim.
Yeah, we got massive amounts of
I think
emergency vehicles.
Lido, Idaho was surprised at how small Helena, Montana is.
Yeah, I know this is a small town. Hi, everybody. Yes. When we went to Missoula, and by the way, it was for his doctor's appointment, not mine. I did indeed get 40% Kennedys at 7 times face. So yeah, they were below spot. I am a very, very happy camper. Hi. Yeah, he is getting himself something to eat. So let's look at mining. U.S. to speed up South 32's Hermosa manganese zinc project. Now I'm looking at the background here. This is somewhere in southern Arizona, because that certainly looks familiar. South 32's Hermosa manganese and zinc project has become the first mining asset added to the Fast 41 process. U.S. government legislation aimed at promoting faster development of clean energy assets and other infrastructure. Located in a historic mining district in the Patagonia Mountains of southern Arizona, the project is the only advanced mine development project in the U.S. as of 2023 that can produce 2 federally designated critical minerals, South 32 says. The inclusion of Hermosa as the first mining project added to the Fast 41 process is an important milestone that recognizes the project's potential to strengthen the domestic supply of critical minerals in the United States. South 32 Chief Executive Officer Graham Kerr said in a statement. Construction and mine development at Hermosa, made up of the Taylor and Clark deposits, can now start with approvals from the state of Arizona, the company said. South 32 expects to complete the feasibility study for the Taylor zinc lead silver deposit in the second half of this year, as it undertakes additional engineering studies to align the mine development schedule for a federal permitting process and include current market cost estimates. The current phase of study work for Hermosa's Clark deposit has confirmed its potential to supply battery-grade manganese to U.S. electric vehicle supply chains, the miner said. Becoming a covered Fast 41 project will make the rigorous federal environmental review and permitting process for this project more transparent, predictable, and inclusive for all stakeholders, South 32 Hermosa President Pat Risner said. Hope springs eternal. Okay. South Africa, Gabon, and Australia account for more than 2/3 of the production of manganese, mainly used in the steel sector. Domestic output in the U.S., which once had mines in states including Virginia, ended in the 1970s. Demand for manganese from the battery sector is set to surge ninefold by 2030, the fastest growth rate of any of the industry's key metals, according to Bloomberg NEF. Prospects for production in the U.S., which is currently 100% reliant on foreign sources for manganese, are also being boosted by efforts to reduce supply chain reliance on China under President Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, enacted last year. U.S. Senator for Arizona Kyrsten Sinema noted she expected the project to strengthen the state's position in the responsible production of critical minerals and renewable energy, always provided it actually ever gets operating. The Fast 41 legislation establishes new procedures that standardize interagency consultation and coordination during the permitting process. Now, it should be noted that earlier this week, the head of the Department of Interior, the eco-terrorist, was once again whining to the media about how her departments, the Department of Interior and the Bureau of Land Management and Forest Service, are behaving in a responsible, transparent manner, and they're permitting things right, left, and sideways. Why, they have granted 20 whole permits in the last 2.5 years. 20. My Lord, they're all going to keel over from overwork. This is just disgraceful that they actually had to permit 20 whole mining projects in a 30-month period. My Lord. Now, that may or may not tie in with the latest pronouncements from our dear friend, Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders has spoken again. In case you missed it last month, or maybe it was earlier this month. Well, anyway, recently, Bernie opined that anyone worth more than $999,999,999.99 should have 100% of their assets over $1 billion confiscated. Yeah. Well, Bernie has added to this current little policy plan that he is promoting right, left, and sideways, a nationally mandated 32-hour work week at the same pay that we're currently paying 40 hours for, and the same benefits levels that people work 40 hours to get, because work-life balance and things. Just saying, I do not. The goddess does not understand the argument being proposed there, since it makes next to no sense. However, the goddess firmly believes that it is everyone's constitutional right to be insane, so long as your particular brand of insanity does not infringe upon my rights. So Bernie can say anything he wants. Bless his heart. Just saying. Ottawa clamps down on China's critical minerals foray, but not prospecting. Well, apparently things are happening in Canada this week. Plenty of things have been happening in Canada. Lone Wolf Mike Tremblay is one of Canada's most successful mining prospectors. In the 1980s, he discovered the Borden Lake gold deposit in northern Ontario, which was subsequently developed into a mine. Over 4 decades, he's headed into the Ontario bush on countless occasions, amassed about 10,000 mining claims. Dang, productive dude. And knows better than anyone there's no guarantee of ever making a cent in the prospecting business. About a dozen years ago, Mr. Tremblay woke up to find a good chunk of his claims hemmed in on all sides by China Metallurgical Exploration Corporation, CME. The goddess is still trying to figure out how the hell you get a hold of 10,000 claims. They tied on to every claim I owned. They were sticking up all around my projects. They surrounded everything I had, he said. CME is controlled by Jianyuan International Mining Company Limited, a Chinese state-owned enterprise. With the huge coffers of China's communist government at its disposal, CME can afford to stake vast tracts of land in Ontario and sit on them indefinitely, paying just $400 a claim to the province annually to keep one active. That's actually not a bad claim fee. I don't like the idea of foreign entities just walking in and buying whatever they want, said Mr. Tremblay. Yeah. In America, foreign entities cannot stake mining claims. They have to be staked by an American citizen. Particularly the Chinese. They don't play fair. There should be more restrictions on them than there is, which is basically nothing. I like this dude. The goddess strongly approves of this particular aspect of nationalism. Last year, the federal government said it would not allow any more Chinese acquisitions of Canadian critical minerals companies. I wonder how long that lasted. Except under extraordinary circumstances. Is this when all circumstances become extraordinary? Just asking. Ottawa brought in the rules after loose oversight in the past in the face of deteriorating relations between Canada and China and fears over China's domination of the global critical minerals supply chain reached a boiling point. They should have reached a boiling point decades ago. But then again, not everyone is as prescient as the goddess. While there is now a virtual ban on acquisitions of Canadian critical minerals producers by state-owned Chinese companies, at the prospecting stage, there's almost no restrictions at all. Oh, really? After filling out basic paperwork, passing a rudimentary knowledge test, and paying nominal fees, foreign firms with ties to authoritarian regimes are allowed to buy claims across Canada. Well, that's undesirable. Canadian mining claims for Canadian miners, please. And the same in the U.S. would be
You
nice.
do realize companies with ties to authoritarian regimes could apply to American companies now?
Well, absolutely. The goddess is very aware of this. Canada's free-for-all prospecting system, you lucky bastards, is regulated by the provinces and territories. Many of them have made the process of buying a claim almost as straightforward as buying a can of tennis balls on Amazon. Professor Hardrock, whereas the goddess wants a silver mining claim and you haven't gotten off your happy butt and found one, perhaps a field trip to Canada is in order here.
I got
Just
stuff up
saying.
by basin that would be interesting.
Some even have easy to follow instructional videos on how to buy a claim online using your credit card. Good grief. As easy as it is to buy a claim in Canada, finding out who owns what is a labyrinth.
Well,
Yes.
remember I got that email the other day from the university in Billings
Mm-hmm.
that had a
Mm-hmm.
$800
Yes.
class.
The
for learning how to
university
stake
in
mining
Billings
claims.
has a class now. You can get a magic piece of paper for $800 that teaches you how to stake a mining claim. Just saying. As easy as it is to buy a claim in Canada, finding out who owns what is a labyrinth. That is sounding very much like the United States right there. Even for a professional such as Mr. Tremblay, following the money isn't easy. The provincial systems make disguising financial bank backers simple for prospectors, potentially facilitating companies with ties to the Chinese state to drift in under the radar. The goddess is sure the same thing happens here. A lot of times, companies that are staking are just numbered companies, so you have no idea what their background is, said Mr. Tremblay. Indigenous groups in British Columbia and Ontario have also raised concerns about Canada's free entry system for prospecting and are calling for the provinces at the very least to consult with them before granting claims. No. The goddess is of two minds here. The goddess does believe that actual residents should be given first right of refusal. Wayne Muniz, a former chief of the Neskataga First Nation in Ontario, said he's seeing an explosion in invasive prospecting on Neskataga's traditional territories. With helicopters flying overhead, mapping and drilling underway, sometimes it's impossible to know who is behind it. Well, if it is on the First Nations land and the First Nations reservation, if they have reservations up there, then the goddess firmly believes that the First Nations should be the only people that can grant title and or mine in the first place. Property and all that, you know. The system is so flawed, he said. Richard Fadden, the former director for the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, an alphabet agency, and former national security advisor to Prime Minister Stephen Harper and Justin Trudeau, says Ottawa should know who's prospecting, where they're prospecting, what they own, and if they have any ties to state-owned enterprises. At an absolute minimum, we need almost perfect transparency when foreign countries come into this country and start prospecting, said Mr. Fadden. Yes, that rather kind of almost makes sense here.
Hi, Bonnie Bunny.
But the issue appears not to even be remotely on the radar screen of the federal government. They've been taking lessons from the Biden administration again. It took the Globe and Mail about a month of back and forth inquiries with Innovation Science and Economic Development Canada and Natural Resources Canada to clarify whether Ottawa even had any jurisdiction to scrutinize on national security grounds a mining claim filed at the provisional level. They actually got an answer at all. Impresses me. Yeah, I know. That's what I have to wonder about, Rock. This article, I am glad to hear. Because I don't necessarily agree with his article. I am just saying that this is what they're trying to claim is going on, which kind of surprises me up there. The
Claims
Globe
about claims.
and Mail apparently got some answers from somebody. And Laurie Bouchard, a spokesperson for Francois Philippe Champagne, the Federal Minister of Innovation, Science, and Industry, eventually wrote in an email that mining claims could fall within the government's auspices to police under the Investment Canada Act because they could be classified as an entity that has operations in Canada. Regardless of how messed up the Canadian system is, and heaven knows the U.S. system is extraordinarily messed up, the goddess has said for some time that no, it is not necessarily a bright idea to allow foreign entities from anybody, anywhere, to be prospecting and claiming and mining in your country. The goddess would love to see a resurgence in America of American mining companies. You know, not mining companies that are a conglomerate of Australian, Chinese, Canadian, and everybody else in America. American mining companies would be nice. American refineries would be nice. The ability to actually get our materials refined in the United States rather than shipping them to Canada, Mexico, or China would certainly be nice. And apparently, Canadians also have a problem with non-Canadian companies, which personally, yeah. The goddess has to wonder why it is that so many countries find it, so many mining companies find it far more profitable to mine elsewhere to begin with. This is the core question here. You would not think that it would be a good idea to be an American mining company that only has mines in other countries, like in Africa, South America, Central America, Mexico, etc. But there are quite a few of those. Which leads inevitably to the question, why is it that American mining companies have trouble making a profit and doing business in America? Why do Canadian mining companies find it a whole lot easier to work sometimes outside of Canada? Why is China the only country that had the sense 20 years ago to begin tying up the entire critical mineral supply chain for technology? And why are we now, if it ever gets open, only going to have one mine in the United States that mines manganese? Just saying, you know. So back to our friends in Ottawa there. But even if Ottawa has the power to scrutinize mining claims by a foreign entity, it appears to have no way of knowing about them. That's bizarre. Foreign investors are under no obligation to disclose claims to Ottawa, and the provinces don't have to pass on any intelligence gathered. If that actually is the system, I wish the hell we had that system here, because then we could get claims in Montana and the federal government would know shit, which would be nice. In her decades of working in the field, Sandy Walker, co-chair of the Competition and Foreign Investment Review Group at the law firm Dentons, said she'd never heard of the federal government scrutinizing a mining claim. Methinks that whoever wrote this article is trying to stir up an agenda. And it is interesting because the goddess wants to see where this agenda is going to go. I have not personally seen an instance where federal jurisdiction has been asserted over the acquisition of simply a mineral claim, she said. Provinces such as Ontario are showing little interest in cracking down on China. George Perrier, Ontario's Minister of Mines, made it clear his job is to stimulate mining investment, not drive it away. When asked whether Ontario should take steps to prevent foreign state-owned firms from obtaining claims, he said, "That's a federal government issue." Well, late last year, China Metallurgical gave up its claims in Ontario, much to the relief of Mr. Tremblay. Fleming Huang, who described himself as a handyman for China Metallurgical in Canada, said it was a business decision and in no way motivated by any scrutiny from Ottawa. While Mr. Tremblay is resting easier these days, he's worried about other holes in Canada's prospecting system that leave the country vulnerable to Chinese investors gobbling up claims. He pointed to scores of TSX venture-listed companies based in Canada that have mining claims that have strong ties to China. Oddly enough, many of the mining companies that Americans consider true blue American mining companies also have very strong and deep ties to Pandaland. The goddess is sure that's entirely coincidental. Markham-based Golden Share Resources, which has amassed about 400 mineral claims in northern Ontario, is an example. China-born Yang Qing-Zin, an early shareholder in Golden Share, who eventually took over as chief executive, said in an interview with the Investing News Network in 2018, he had been retained to seek out resources globally by Chinese companies. And we focused on exploration in Ontario. We love Ontario. His reach within China was impressive. Really. He even attempted to broker a deal where seen a Chinese state-owned company build a railway into Ontario's Ring of Fire minerals district in the province's far north. Mr. Zhang didn't live to see his ambitions realized. He died last September, forcing Golden Share to put itself up for sale. Very weird. And yeah, exactly, Rock Butcher. Many American companies do send their concentrates to China. The concentrates that don't go to China go to Mexico and often go to Canada. I was surprised to find that out recently. And that shouldn't be the case, because we do have the environmental standards to do that refining here. We used to do it here, but because of the greenie weenies and eco-terrorists of all varieties, apparently it's perfectly acceptable to run your refining operation in developing and third world nations where there are no environmental controls. So you're only poisoning everybody else's backyard, while your own backyard stays looking very pretty. That's how that worked.
Were they processed in Canada, Rock, or was that just a transshipment point?
Yeah. Some cons can go to Nevada. There's a couple of companies in Nevada. I know Highcroft is working on a system that's going to be working with some oxides and some sulfide ores that is actually passing permitting. Well, at the moment, the environmentalists aren't suing them again yet. And the federal government is so far not saying anything. We shall see. Golden Share CEO Wesley Roberts said it's unfair to sound the alarm over Canadian junior mining companies with minerals claims that also have linked to China or are run by Chinese Canadians. Many of the long-term resource bets taken by the Chinese never pay off, he said, including Mr. Zheng's bet on golden share. We've lots of Chinese shareholders. They've taken a real beating. They've lost money, and a lot of Canadian shareholders too. There's no secret agenda out there to take over Canada. We have been told there is no secret agenda to take over Canada. Not at all. Never happening. Never happening at all. Mm-hmm. It's not happening in the U.S. either. Trust me. As welcoming to exploitation as Canada's prospecting system is to companies with significant Chinese influence or ownership, China's own system could hardly be more hostile to outsiders. True. China doesn't allow foreign prospectors any access to certain minerals such as rare earths, radioactive minerals, and certain critical minerals such as tungsten. Smart Chinese. And while a foreigner can apply for a prospecting license in China, applications are subject to an in-depth review by the Chinese state. Smart Chinese. The process is lengthy and opaque, as it should be, said mining lawyer Greg McNabb in an interview last year when he was a partner at Baker & McKenzie LLP. Mr. McNabb, who has since joined Denton's as a partner, said it's not uncommon for foreign prospectors to be turned down by the Chinese state with no explanation given. Now, the goddess may be having a blonde moment here. But follow the goddess's logic. Canada is a nation. It has borders. And the government, duly appointed by the people within those borders, has the say over what happens to the land in those borders. Allegedly and ostensibly, America purportedly is also a nation with borders. We've seen how that's going. Where we have the right over our land. China is also a nation. It is a nation state. It has borders. And it has control over its land. So I'm sorry. For somebody to be sitting here and whining and saying, we wanted to do something in China and they said no and didn't even tell us why. Oh, wham. Somebody call a ambulance. They don't have to give you a reason. If you're not a Chinese citizen, then you mean less than zero to them. They don't have to give you a reason. They should never have to give you a reason. If you don't like it, don't do business with them. Quite simple there. I mean, really. Mining executive Glenn Mullen says Canada should move toward a reciprocal system on prospecting. That means for countries that already have heavy restrictions on Canadian prospectors, Canada should erect similar barriers in return.
I like that, honey bunny.
My word, this man is speaking common sense. This is unbelievable. And he's a politician, too. For prospectors working for China, that would mean far more restricted access to Canada's mineral wealth. Yes, it should. This is something that the goddess is very, very adamant on. No, there is no obligation to make it easy for anybody to do business in your country, especially if they don't make it easy for you to do business in theirs. This is called a two-way street. Any relationship is a two-way street. So yes, I actually agree with this dude. Shut it down. Tell him, no, we don't want you. We're not giving you a reason. You have every right to do this. If more countries did this, we probably would not be in the mess we're in a lot of ways right now. I mean, if we can't work in China, then I don't see why we should encourage them to be allowed to have unfettered access here. Yes. Canadian miners would probably love to mine in their own country if it were profitable to do so. For some reason, they seem to find it more profitable to go elsewhere. No idea why. But at any rate, there was more to that article, and the goddess is quite interested because the bias is very obvious. The goddess does find it interesting that finally, decades after creating the problem of China in the first place, people are beginning to understand that no, Panda Land is definitely going to be something of an issue. Well, derp. No shit, Sherlock. And, as the goddess said, the goddess firmly believes in nationalism in that regard. The goddess firmly believes that countries do and should have a right to protect their borders. They should and do have an absolute right to restrict ownership of their national resources, as in mineral rights, water rights, land, etc., in any way they desire. Absolutely. And yes, the goddess would like to see all of our nations, the US especially, develop more positive mining friendly environments so that our own miners can work and refine and produce within our own borders. That would be nice. Ability to speak Mandarin is required. Now, why does not that surprise me at all? Yeah. That does not surprise me at all, Rock Butcher. There was a time when the Chinese were the only laborers at the salmon canneries up in Alaska, where you had they bought in Chinese crews to the salmon canneries. The only people that could manage them were their bosses. The only people that could work there were people that spoke the language. This is one of the many symptoms of the problem of globalism. Yes, it's nice to have trade with other people. It's nice to have decent relationships with other people. It's always preferable to try to keep a friendly, nice kind of sort of hanging out, chilling with the other nations around you, because it makes life a little bit better. But to get to the point that the United States is at now, where we're celebrating the maybe possible opening of a single manganese mine in southern Arizona, with no numbers as to when it will start coming out of the ground and how much will start coming out of the ground and where it's going to be processed. There's the other question right there. It should not get to the point where vast amounts of your critical infrastructure is in the hands of people who may decide some fine day that they don't like you. If the goddess respects China for no other reason, and believe it or not, the goddess does have a great deal of respect for Panda Land. A 5,000, 4,000, 5,000 year track record of some kind of civilization going on is pretty damned impressive, okay? If the goddess respected them for nothing else, I respect them for unapologetically making it damn difficult to impossible for anybody to own land within their borders that is not Chinese.
Hi, Peggy.
The United States is one of the only developed nations in the world that does not have some form of land ownership restrictions. The United States is one of a very, very small handful, as in fingers, less than fingers of one hand, I believe, countries in the world that still has full, unfettered birthright citizenship. And people wonder why we have an issue. Oh, well, the goddess has given up trying to explain the ways of the universe to the clueless in that regard. So, anybody who is not aware, May 11th is going to be an interesting day in the southern part of the United States, specifically in southern Arizona, southern Texas, southern New Mexico. Southern California, they won't notice the difference anyway. Though the goddess does think it's very funny that Mexico City is beginning to severely tighten the restrictions. Mexico is beginning to severely tighten the restrictions on Norteamericanos, people from los Estados Unidos, that are wanting to rent in Mexico and work in California. You can do that if you're a Mexican citizen and they don't have a problem with it. They're now having a serious problem with Americans renting in Mexico because it's cheaper and driving up the prices and wrecking the traffic and ruining the traffic patterns and gentrifying the border towns in northern Mexico on the California border. The goddess thought that was just about pretty damn hilarious, really, because, yeah, now the Mexicans are upset because their rents are going up and they're getting overrun by nasty ass white folks from California that are wanting to live there to save money. Yeah. Something tells me the border is going to end up closed at that rate, but it's only going to be closed in one direction. Trust me on that one. For those who missed the public service announcement, Arizona still sucks rocks, just so you know. But yeah, in other random ridiculous news this week, there was a 25 basis point hike of some kind or another, which means absolutely nothing. And Yellen the villain has once again been making noises. It should be noted that gold prices are doing fairly well this week. We're currently at, let's see where we are, $2,023.80 an ounce. And silver is at $25.59 an ounce. Rhodium is still in the toilet at $6,600. Palladium is hovering around 1,474, and platinum's at 1,071. Now it should be noted that Yellen the villain has been making noises again. For anybody who's missed the news, there was a 25 basis point hike, and some various government statistics from several months ago got quietly updated and completely ignored and filed again. So nobody is talking about those. And new figures will be coming out soon. And, of course, shortly after Jay Powell announced that the banking system is in wonderful, incredible, amazing shape, First Republic went under, but, there's nothing major about that. For those who have not been watching, there's now about 400 banks on the existential deep red risk category sheet that the feds put out that says that they're in real trouble. Like, they've lost 50% or more of their value. Yeah. But it's probably nothing major. I mean, we all know that. Janet Yellen has warned of a potential constitutional crisis. Speaking on ABC's This Week on Sunday, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, the felon, said that negotiations in regard to raising or suspending the debt ceiling should not take place with a gun to the head of the American people. In case you missed the news, the Republicans passed a debt ceiling raise. They sent it from the House to the Senate, and the Senate said this, basically. And Biden said this, basically. Okay, so it's been done. During her interview, she issued a dire warning that a failure by Congress to act on the debt ceiling would trigger a constitutional crisis that would also call into question the federal government's creditworthiness. Now, in that regard, they're apparently just planning to file back on the 14th Amendment, because I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work. But they are claiming The 14th Amendment says that basically it's against the law and absolutely nobody can ever question the full faith and credit of the U.S. government or something or other. So, yeah, okay. So we can't question it because the Constitution that they've been ignoring for decades now says we can't question it or something. She expressed the seriousness of the financial market's consequences if the debt ceiling is not raised by early June, when she said the federal government could run short of cash to pay bills. The Treasury Secretary adamantly expressed it's Congress's job to do it. If they fail to do it, we will have an economic and financial catastrophe that will be of our own making. Mind you, Lord Malarkey was once again parroting the absolute bullshit lie that the U.S. has never defaulted on its obligations. Mises.org put in a community note on that on Twitter to remind everybody once again that yes, the United States government has indeed defaulted on its obligations multiple times. But, the president will meet with Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, Republican Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, and top congressional Democrats on Tuesday to discuss the issue. The divide between legislators has become a bottomless chasm, with President Biden and his Democratic constituents adamant that Congress should raise the debt ceiling without conditions. Of course they don't want conditions. Why the hell would they want conditions? Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer last week began the process of preparing legislation that would suspend the government's debt limit for 2 years without conditions. This was met with strong resistance by a group of 43 Republican senators who said they oppose any bill that would only raise the U.S. debt ceiling without addressing other priorities. This is quite different from the Republican-led House of Representatives bill that was passed last month that would raise the government's $31.4 trillion debt ceiling by $1.5 trillion and concurrently cut approximately $4.5 trillion of government programs out of the annual budget. Biden vowed to veto the congressional bill passed last month. Of course he did. According to a Federal Reserve survey of bank loan officers, credit conditions for U.S. businesses and households continue to tighten in the first quarter of this year. According to the survey, bank loan officers believe the tightening is the direct result of the accumulating impact of the aggressive monetary policy by the Federal Reserve. Oh, dear Lord. How they could say that with a straight face is beyond me, but they did. According to Reuters, the Fed's quarterly Senior Loan Officer Opinion Survey, or SLOOS, among the first measures of sentiment across the banking sector since the recent run of banks' failures, showed a net 46% of banks tightened terms of credit for a key category of business loans for medium and large businesses, compared with 44.8% in the prior survey, a modest stepwise change. The problems created by U.S. banks tightening lending standards and the divide between Democrat and Republican legislators to agree on legislations both parties can sign off on, coupled with Wednesday's CPI report for April, create a trifecta of concerns that could exacerbate the slowing economy. These issues were highly supportive of gold pricing, which had modest gains today. As of 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight, the most active June futures contract is currently trading up $3.70 and fixed at $2,028.50. This modest gain comes despite fractional dollar strength, with the dollar up 0.17 and the index fixed at $101.17. The goddess has pretty much given up on Yellen the Felon, Jay Powell, and any aspect of our federal financial system being coincident with reality anytime in the immediate future. Just saying. For those who have not yet divested themselves of ties to large banks, the goddess highly suggests you go search up the list of banks that are at risk and see where your bank is on that list. Because thou shalt unbank thyself, lest thy fiat go poof. Just say it. Some of us are now in in-state only banks to the extent we are in banks at all, because this kind of shit is only going to get worse. And for anybody who missed the news, while the government has not been mentioning this fact whatsoever, when J.P. Morgan was allowed to acquire First Republic for mere pennies on the dollar the other day, like several days ago when that whole shit hit the fan, that put J.P. Morgan 100% in the illegal category. You see, after the whole 2008 meltdown, which followed the 1980s meltdown, which followed the 1970s meltdown, well, after the whole 2008 meltdown, they put in a whole bunch of regulations and a couple of laws. Yeah. Crypto went to 36, Shaggy, because people are nuts. We'll get to that in a minute. After all that last financial meltdown, where they were doing the same things they're doing this time, but actually in much smaller amounts than they're doing them this time, they made new laws and new regulations that said that no single entity bank like J.P. Morgan Chase could control more than 10% of a certain types of financial markets that are out there. Well, J.P. Morgan now does, and ain't nobody saying a goddamn word, but that doesn't surprise the goddess at all, because this is the same J.P. Morgan Chase that controls the vast majority of the precious metals pricing and price manipulation. The same J.P. Morgan Chase that has paid over decades hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars in fines and been found criminally guilty of shit, and yet they're still allowed to operate in the financial sector. Not surprising in the least, I rock Butcher. Yeah. Shaggy, crypto is fiat on steroids. Crypto is the meta expression of fiat, okay? The only reason crypto is worth anything is because the people involved in it think it's worth something, which is why the goddess is not a firm believer in the idea. But I will say this, absolutely. If you're good at the pump and dump, if you know when to buy in, if you know what wave to ride, and you can cash it out and get a profit in fiat that you can turn into actual silver and gold, then totally milk the system. The goddess personally tries to avoid it because when the time comes that the great central bank digital currency thing rolls out, we're going to see crypto probably is going to become de facto illegal, or they'll just take over the whole system. It's going to be really bad, Good night, Rock. But yeah, crypto, it does not surprise me that crypto is going through the roof. In fact, I suspect that because of the same goofballs that are worried about banking are going to flock into crypto. And I say goofballs very carefully because I find it fascinating to see how few people actually embrace DeFi when they go into crypto. They want to connect their bank account to their crypto. They want to use centralized CeFi systems for their crypto, like Coinbase. In other words, they want to work with the same tools that they despise in the banking business without even the semblance of regulatory restraints that the banking system operates under. And then they get the surprise Pikachu look on their face when things like FTX happen. And when Binance happens, and when these clearinghouses and places like Coinbase disappear like this one fine day, they're all surprised Pikachu face. It's like, no, if you're going to play in that world, remember, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Put it on one of those little cold wallet thingies. DeFi it. Decentralized finance. Because it makes no sense whatsoever to flee the banking system because the banking system is playing fast and loose with your money and it's not even your money anymore and blah, 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 to run right into the crypto world's version of the same banking system without regulation at all. That makes zero sense, people. Yes, we can expect to see crypto go to the moon. Absolutely. Crypto could well go to the moon. Crypto could triple before gold triples. All it will take is for the federal government to decide that if you try to cash it out anywhere in any way, shape, or form, you're going to land in jail for some bizarre reason. I don't trust them not to, okay? I really don't. I don't trust our federal government on that one. If you've got it sitting there, you have to be able to spend it. Now, here in little old Helena, Montana, there aren't that many places I can spend it locally. We spend a whole lot of time in places where we cannot use it. It's not like there's a use for it here. It's not like any of the coin dealers I know of will take it. And no, the goddess is not going to sacrifice her privacy creating paper trails online to spend what is supposed to be an anonymous currency. That ain't happening either. So yes, absolutely. We are probably moving into the golden age of crypto going to the moon, or at least the real old school ones, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum type things. Because of the delusions and madness of the fiat crowd that will transfer their faith from fiat to the meta incarnation of fiat. Fiat currency, at least still these days, can be in a physical form that you can make paper airplanes out of, or burn, or, whatever. Crypto's never had a form. It has always been the ultimate meta expression of fiathood. The goddess does not believe in fiat. The goddess believes in sound money. That's just the way it is. But there will be people that will flee into crypto, and crypto will go to the moon. But when it gets outlawed, when it goes underground, when we get hit with a Carrington level event at some point, and we're thrown back to the pre-electricity age, then there's going to be a problem because it doesn't exist. And, when the goddess is preparing for the inevitable zombie apocalypse, the goddess prefers to have material things that exist. Just saying. Because if you don't hold it, you don't own it.
Any idea where that $20 bill went?
Which $20 bill?
One I threw at you. You said make it into paper airplanes. So I did.
You made a $20 bill into a paper airplane.
Yes.
Did it work?
Yeah. Zoomed right past you. You didn't even notice it. Notice it says here, Honey Bunny. Good shot, Keith. Oh.
No, I mean, absolutely. If you can find a way to profit from the crypto going to the moon and get it into real money in a way that cannot be traced, then go for it.
Well, I agree. Crypto should be looked at as a speculative investment at this point, not any kind of security. And the only security you'll have is being able to get out quick beforehand. Not a heck of a lot, Honey Bunny. If I look at the thing behind me here, let me move it over. Oh, and I got to change the sign. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. I will go over my little list here. Number 1, video views. I'm going a bit viral right now. And as such, let's see where. Okay. So far today, my video, Where Does Gold Come From? Let's see as the numbers have changed since earlier, folks. No, 15,586 views. I don't think they update it very often. That's my thought.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so I'm getting like 17,000 views a day, mostly on no, we didn't give a pound of gold away. But anyhow, so that's going viral. Even though it's 7 years old. My family will be here Friday or Saturday, both to visit and to slap an engine into the truck. So that will be cool. Any day now, the impactors should show up for the Stutenroth mill, and Lauren will put some hard facing on them, and then I can go to the ranch and put those in. Finally talked to the guy with the KD3 solution again. He's sending me 3 pints, 2 to replace the ones I had, and 1 to go to Lauren, and Lauren's paying for that one there. Got it, Kodak. Lido, Idaho came by on Saturday. He was deadheading back to wherever he comes from after delivering a load, and we had breakfast, and then went driving around for a couple hours. I showed him Helena while we chatted. Once we get the impactors for the Stutenroth, I'll get that put back together, and also we'll work on getting the mill unmothballed from winter to where we can operate it. Plus, a guy in Mandan, North Dakota, has a chipmunk crusher from Bico Braun that he's selling for $400. And if it's a reasonable drive, he's willing to deliver it to you as long as you pay for the mileage, basically. So if you're interested in that, let me know, Honey Bunny, and I can give you his email. Which also set up an interesting thing, trying to figure out how to delete something on the chat that was being very difficult. And that's about it. So that's basically the most of the stuff. And say my family, that would be fine. You've got you sent me mail, haven't you? Yeah, there it is. Okay. I'm going to just reply to the previous thing you sent me, and I will give you his email in case you're interested. You can discuss it with him. I don't know if he's already sold it or not. There you go. Okay, that was confusing. The email did a little weird thing there. Okay. Take care, John. So that's basically it. Again, my son-in-law, my grandson, and my two daughters are going to be here either late Friday or early Saturday. And while the men folk and I will work on swapping engines in the truck, the ladies can go fishing. That's why I was working last weekend on finding some good fishing for them, figuring out where they are and what they're hungry for.
And I'll probably be staying home because I'm having my teeth done on Monday.
Yeah, at least Monday you sure. Well, let's see. Yeah, Monday you certainly will. Whether you want to go out there on Saturday and Sunday is a different story. And yeah, Eva's going to have some serious dental work on Monday, so we shall see if she's here for the Monday live stream or not. But anyhow, that's basically what the news is. And not much else going on, honey bunny. Ouch, ouch. I'm getting old too. I know what kind of cutthroats there are. Can you send a pic of the nuggets? And okay, sure, you can do that, cutthroat, and I can basically hold the computer up so other people can see it. And no, it's not Wild West kettle corn. It is hard rock u at outlook.com. Hard rock, the letter U, at outlook.com. So let me go to inbox here. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is, honey bunny. I've got, we'll say, when the family shows up, there's a lot to get done and some visiting to do. And my daughters are thinking of maybe taking a day trip up to Glacier National Park. So there's a lot of different things. So I say we shall see what we shall see. You've been building barns, minding newborn babies, dismantling a hay crib so I can move it and install it in the new part of the barn. Well, that sounds cool. I know that if you were close by, Eva would be happy to volunteer to help with the minding newborn babies part. She just loves babies. Is that one of yours or somebody else's? Yeah, I like to keep busy too. I've been helping Lauren with some stuff, and it's been an interesting project. When it's all done, it'll be nice to be able to look at it and go, wow, I had something significant to do with that. You know, Not the majority, believe me. Well, those aren't goats. Those are kids then. Goodness. I don't know. The baby goats count, little one?
Yeah.
She says, yeah.
I mean, baby goats are huge.
Now, if it was newborn Sphinx cats, Eva would be in heaven. She just loves Sphinx cats for some bizarre reason. Don't know, but they're kind of weird. Have another 2 expected in 60 days. What's the gestation cycle on a female goat? How often could she have kids? And do they have 1 or 2 generally? 5-month cycle, so twice a year. That's pretty prolific. And how many do they usually have at once? I think Eva said that sheep generally have 2.
Yeah, sheep will have twins. Goats, I think, are more like a twin.
Oh, so 5 months gestation and then 7 months resting. So once a year is the total cycle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if they twin the way sheep do. Sheep are twin.
I don't know. I'm waiting for answers from Honey Bunny. What's the usual load of kids? 1, 2, 27? Some breeds are 1 to 2, some are 2 to 3, and a few are 3 to 4. Wow.
That must be fun to deal with.
That would be a fat goat. Well, let's see. A male goat would be a ram? No, that's a billy. And a female goat is a nanny. Okay. And buck? I guess not, Honey Bunny.
Yeah, bucks and does can be used for goats too.
Bucks and does can be used for both goats too, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so confused. Life is so
Rams
complicated.
and ewes are sheeps.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, Honey Bunny. Little one, do you remember those bighorn sheep at Morenci, or was that in the time before your recent memory? Yeah, yeah, that was in the time that she's lost. But there was one time we were up at the Morenci mine, and we're driving around to the upper lookout there, and somebody parked their car for no apparent reason. We're looking around, and there's a small herd of desert bighorn sheep, and now I know why they're called sheep. They're little things, slightly larger than a goat.
Basically about the size of like Labradors, retrievers.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe a German Shepherd.
Yeah, a big Labrador. That's about all they are. When you see them, on the TV and they're doing their big head banging stuff and everything, it's like, wow, that looks amazing. And it's like, yeah, but if you were, actually there, they'd be hitting you in the nut. Well, the nut. But this guy gets out of his car, walks over there, and he's standing about 10 feet in front of one of these desert bighorn sheep, taking a picture of it, because these sheep they live around the Morenci mine because nobody can shoot them there. It's basically all private property. And one time I was actually inside the Morenci mine. I was doing business there and everything. And, the guy was telling me, yeah, sometimes these things just go out and stand in the middle of a haul road and shut down traffic, and he says, you can't do anything. You honk your horn, they won't move. What do? You just got to sit there. They're protected. And I say that was pretty weird, because I expected something about the size of a deer, but with big, massive horns and stuff. And it wasn't.
I have seen bald eagles get chased by magpies, okay? Our national bird is not very impressive.
She's not a big bald eagle fan.
I'm sorry.
Although
National
you
bird.
did get to see an osprey
Yeah,
last week.
that was impressive.
Yeah, she was when I was fishing, and she was watching. An osprey came down and snatched a. Could you tell what kind of fish it was?
It was a rainbow trout, and it was bigger than the damn osprey.
Yeah, she said it was a rainbow trout, and the osprey was working diligently to try and stay airborne.
That fish was flopping, and it was throwing the osprey off course. It was amazing.
Yep. But anyhow, so that was cool. One time, right over here in Spring Meadow Lake, I heard this splash, and I look over there. There's this osprey lifting off with a trout. That's pretty cool. But anyhow, so that's basically what we've been doing. Not much. I did do some repairs on the kiln. I've got some other stuff happening that when I get it done, I will make another video there. When I put the Stutenroth together, I'll do a video there. I need to try and raise the conical bottom agitation tank up another couple pallets of height, because that gives me more drainage, and I can increase the height of the tailings pad that way. So there's a few things. And then we got a lot of stuff to haul back to the mill from Lawrence, back to the summer lab instead of the winter lab. But yeah, that's been a real lifesaver there. And Lauren hasn't been on tonight. I hope he's feeling okay. This is some hard work today. That'd be interesting, honey bunny. Well, let us know how that all works out. Steam, ore, and rock salt. What's the idea? Trying to turn the gold into gold chloride? Excuse me. What's the chemistry you're attempting to achieve, honey bunny? You wind up with elemental sulfur, huh? Too bad it's not highly valuable. Also releases pure hydrochloric acid. That's easy to scrub, at least. It absorbs into water very easily. Well, if you got a market for it. Oh. Are you talking about sulfide minerals, or are you looking for just metallic smelting? Okay. Interesting. Okay. That'd be interesting to see how that all works. Oh. Does anyone have any questions here? It's getting kind of late. We managed to stretch it out. Eva actually gained quite a few viewers from me, which is kind of unusual. It usually goes the other way a little bit, but she did a great job tonight.
Oh.
And
you seem to think I care.
No, I'm just mentioning it because I've been watching. I was kind of expecting, with all of these new people looking at my videos, that we would have more people here tonight, but that didn't happen.
No, we don't know how many of them subscribe, or
yeah,
how many of them get notifications.
I have no clue. I'm sure they don't if they don't subscribe. Thank you, honey bunny. Yeah, whatever it is, the algorithm has decided to push me on YouTube. So
yeah, next, if anybody starts seeing commercials, let us know, because we're not getting paid any monetized type stuff.
Yeah, and Eva mentions, if you see any commercials, let us know, because we haven't authorized monetization.
Oh, they can now do it without our permission now, but if they're going to do it, I want to know that we're getting paid.
Yeah. I mean, if they're going to be putting videos on our channel, I mean, if they're going to put commercials on without our permission, they should at least pay us. We shall see what we shall see. But
Being YouTube.
yeah, say that's basically it. Got a lot of stuff doing, not a whole lot of mining stuff. By the way, the convention I'm using is if it's a mining video, like an instructional video or this or that or the other, it will have a number. If there's no number, then that means it's just more of a personal video. Like this week, it was fishing. When we went to Glacier National Park, there were no numbers on those. So that's one thing you can do when you look at a notification, and you can tell right away if it has to do with mining or not.
Yeah, it'll say like lesson 1700.
Yeah. So anyhow, thank you, Blindsight. I appreciate it. I say Eva's got a bit of a rough week next week. I should be fine. I keep going in for maintenance checks, and they keep saying, "Yeah, you're still functioning." Either that, or they do some minor work, and I continue on my merry little way. But yeah, I can feel the back and my right hip and both my knees. I've worn through the cartilage in places. It's not generally too painful, but we shall see how well things last. Thank you, Blindsight. Anyhow, so that's kind of it. That would be nice, Honey Bunny. With all the new technology they've developed, it's amazing what they can fix, and it's amazing sometimes what they can't fix, even with all that stuff. It's really kind of unpredictable. Like, replacing an aorta, that's it used to be impossible. Then it was very difficult. Now it's fairly routine, even with the best surgeon in Tucson, they still gave me a 2% chance of not waking up. Yes, Honey Bunny, that is becoming more and more apparent, unfortunately, as time goes on. She stated, healthy patients are not paying customers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Which is why when you have a medical system based on the idea you pay the doctors to keep you healthy, and if you get sick, they don't make any extra money, it motivates them to keep you healthy.
Well, part of the problem is also people don't want to put in the effort.
Yeah, people are pretty lazy nowadays.
In the sense that back before all these pills were invented, if you got T2 diabetes like I got, they tell you got two choices. You can eat this way, you can eat keto, or you can die.
Yeah.
But now people are so used to a pill being available.
I hope you can hear Eva in the background there.
I mean, geez, we now have people wanting to go on Ozempic for weight loss. Craziness.
Yeah. Cool, Rob Bob. And so anyway, I think that's about it. If we don't have anything else to any new subjects or whatever, that's about it. I'm going to have a really fun week this week, and next Monday, I don't know if Eva will be functional, but there's a good chance I'll have some of my family here too. So we can see. That sounds pretty good, Honey Bunny. What is Ozempic, and does it cause weight loss? I think Ozempic is that T2 diabetes drug, correct?
Ozempic is a T2 diabetes drug that basically makes your liver dump blood sugar like crazy. And amongst the other wonderful side effects, the list of side effects is as long as my arm, is test- testicular necrosis. For those who don't know what that means, it means if you're a male, your testes could rot and fall off. They go gangrenous. Oh, and it does nasty things to women's private parts too. But they now have permission to prescribe it off label for people that want to lose 15 pounds in 2 weeks, real quick. Yeah,
Well, my odds of testicular necrosis are half of what they used to be.
yeah, but on the flip side of that, you get twice as much damage.
Have you been trying a keto type diet, Honey Bunny? True, Honey Bunny. Body parts falling off counts as weight loss too. Mainly keto, yes. Eva would thoroughly approve. If you need some recipes and stuff, we have some. uh, I personally am fond of our keto French toast recipe. And say I'm proud of that because I made something that tastes a lot like French toast and has almost no carbs, so Eva can eat it too. You know, but
Well, our casserole is really good tonight.
yeah, yeah. Anyhow, yeah, we had a what would you call it? Kind of a taco casserole, or no, an enchilada casserole. Yeah, yeah, I understand, Honey Bunny. Tonight's casserole was hamburger, onions, cauli rice, uh, green enchilada sauce, and cheese, and a little bit of salsa and green taco sauce for flavoring. And that tasted pretty good. Anything with capsaicin. Now, would that be a little bit of capsaicin or a lot of capsaicin? I can't handle a lot of capsaicin. As a matter of fact, I don't like a lot of capsaicin. Okay. Well, that makes it a lot more complex for you, Honey Bunny. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that makes it a lot more challenging. Eva is trickier than me. Well, I would say a lot trickier than me, but that's because I'm not tricky at all. It's not because she's terribly tricky. You know, you, on the other hand, sounds like you've got a lot of constraints that make it quite challenging. And that's unfortunate. Say, luckily, even Eva isn't that complex to deal with. She also got off her vape. What was that? 3 days ago?
Like 3 or 4 days now.
Yeah, 3 or 4 days ago. She's doing okay, so that's
I
good.
haven't killed you yet.
Yeah, she hasn't killed me yet. She said. Honey Bunny says, "Thank you. Yeah, that's great." So, yep.
Well, it was just getting too expensive. I'd rather spend the money on food.
Yeah, doesn't hurt. Nicotine makes you want to kill people. Well, please don't, Honey Bunny, because it looks like when you're in shape, you could. Yeah. Oh, all righty then. Well, uh, Eva's very weird with medications too. If you heard earlier this evening me mentioning, do you remember that? That's because one time when they were treating her for horrible migraines and stuff, um, Eva's got an idiosyncratic biochemistry. Weird things happen. And what happened was she lost her memory. Everything from 1976 to, what was it, September 2010? I think it was in September. Seems like it. Um, she woke up and she lost everything since 1976. that was an interesting difficulty for her. She still hasn't recovered it, but she woke up mentally back to 12 years old with a naked man. That was interesting. She handled it very well, I must admit. Um, and I was quite impressed with how well she managed the thing. She only cried when she saw her son. What was he then, about 19, 20? Ryan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in his 20s.
When she realized she had a son in his 20s and she didn't remember anything before that of him. So that's I say that was pretty distressing. But yeah, she's been through some difficult times. Um, the longer I live, the more I realize, compared to most people, I haven't been through difficult times. I've been through
You're
a number of
privileged.
annoyances. What?
You're privileged.
I'm privileged. Ooh, that's right. I'm a white male. I'm privileged. So, okay, I'll live with it. But yeah, uh, I got one brother. I get along well with him. I lived in a
very interesting
middle income household, never worried about, um, a roof over my head, food on the table. We had to live uh, frugally for like my earliest 9 years or something, because my biological father died when I was a year and a half old. And so my mom was a single mom in the 60s and also going to college until the late 60s when she remarried.
Wow.
And
this is weird.
He was a good man, made another good middle class income. And then money wasn't a problem. What, little one?
All kinds of weirdness about that Allen, Texas.
The Allen, Texas shooting is getting even weirder.
Yeah.
Okay.
People are deep diving into the stuff that was posted on his OK.ru social media profile.
Okay.
Of Mexican neo-Nazis.
Okay.
They apparently were pulled from Reddit's Behold the Master Race and elsewhere on the internet. Years old pictures. The rest were, the only picture on his profile, the first picture was found on his profile. The rest were all pulled from the net.
Okay.
Weirdness.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, honey bunny. You had a much tougher life than me and probably not as tough as Eva. But we're both about as happy as we've ever been in our lives right now also. Although Eva's had some happy times before. But yeah, I've had it easy. I don't know if hardships lead to happiness, but they certainly allow you to appreciate the happiness.
Huh.
If everything's always been good is
the same
boring.
Guy who found this dude found the Pentagon leaker. Isn't that bizarre?
So, anyhow, that's what I said. My life's been annoying at times. That's about it. Have had one bullet fly past my head, but she missed. So, spoiled people tend to be greedy, angry, jealous, hateful. Yes, and undisciplined. They've got no patience, no empathy. Yeah, I agree. People who have had to deal with very modest surroundings to difficult surroundings, I say they appreciate when things are good. When you've had terrible trauma, then you really appreciate when things are reasonably good and boring but safe. Okay, you can appreciate mundane. you know. Say I get bored with the everyday stuff. Eva is much easier to just go along when needed. Um, but I don't do sitting around too much very well, and that's why it's nice to have Lauren because he's always doing something. I can always help out. So that if I'm getting bored, I can always just call Lauren up. Well, almost always. Um, yeah, honey bunny. Boredom tends to lead to excessive eating for me too, although it's not necessarily from hunger. Although I definitely don't have as much hunger when I'm busy, but it's just my mouth gets bored. Eva said, "Did you coin that term, or is that somebody else came up with it?"
Mouth boredom is a common term.
Okay, mouth boredom is apparently a common term, and yeah, when I'm sitting around the computer, yep. I get it. When I'm busy, when I'm working, when I'm exerting myself, not a problem. As a matter of fact, I forget to drink, you know? So, yeah. Um, I like to stay busy, keeps me in decent shape. But a lot of it is I just can't deal with doing nothing. You know, if I was really bored, I might just get up and walk a mile or two and then come back. Yeah. So I will sit there. I mean, like right now, I've got a little bit of thirst in my mouth, and it's not, I'm not feeling it. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. But that can be a negative when you're just ignoring that. That, that's a problem I could have also. So it's good for me to stay hydrated. Oh, anything else, anybody? Oh. Glad you showed up, honey bunny. Oh. Got gout, kidney stones, bleeding ulcers, heart problems. Yeah, I don't have the gout, the kidney stones, bleeding ulcers. My heart problems have theoretically been resolved, but oh, you still here, Lars? Cool. Good night, and make sure to keep that rain away. So, I think I'm going to call it a night here. Yeah, Eva's keeps on me, honey bunny. So it's one nice. It's very nice to have someone who loves you and cares about you. And she was like this evening, just for a thing, get some more keto aid. You too, Jeff. Oh dear, poor Lars. Just put a sign up. Lars, sign. No rain here. All righty. Well, I'm going to call it a night here. I got a few other things to do and then get some rest. Thanks for the carbon rinse tip. Oh, okay. You're welcome, Brian. Say, you ever got any questions or whatever, let me know. Night, Cutthroat. All righty. I'm going to call it a night. Happy prospecting and or fishing, and keep it safe out there.